A 40k four-way on a Thursday night. All right. Hello everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm joined in the studio by Tom. Tom's back. Tom Layton.
Only for the week.
That's so exciting. Nick, we've been so alone without him.
We have been, yeah.
Nick's also in the studio. Hello.
Hello.
And our special guest today, Wallace. Some people may know him as. Did you want to say hi, Wallace?
Hello.
Okay, there you go. That's his voice.
He's
That's
really
what he sounds
English.
Like. What?
He's really English.
He's very English. And you're very much Sheffield.
Fine.
Which is England.
I was born in Northampton, so it's an upgrade.
Oh, really?
I haven't been stabbed yet, so we're doing all right.
Okay, that's fantastic. So, hello everyone, welcome to the show. Scrivo in the chat, straight in there, just saying hi. We'll talk about why Wallace is here in a moment. But look, it's really exciting. I want to know how everyone is. Nick, how are you?
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, played some more time yesterday. Where me and,
The best game made by Games Workshop.
yeah, the best gamest game they've ever made. I don't know why they bother making any other ones.
But more time podcast coming soon.
Maybe we could do.
More time Mondays.
Yeah, I mean,
moving iOS.
Yesterday was fun because it was me and my friends Mark, Rich, and Matt, and we basically spent the entire game just basically being dicks to each other. But
The point of Warhammer.
yeah, we were just telling each other to fuck off and just being really aggro with each other. But it was just fun.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it was a real wholesome time.
Oh, lovely! Did you see that mini wargaming did a Kickstarter to redo battle reports Warhammer Fantasy Battle? And I'm thinking if they could do that, Nick, then surely we can do bat reps.
Why can't you just do bat reps and then people either watch them or they don't, and if they don't, just stop doing the bat reps? Why do you need a Kickstarter for that?
This is mini wargaming.
Because they're terrible.
Applied logic there.
My
yeah.
mistake.
So maybe you could do a Kickstarter to start more time bat reps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It sounds like a format. I'm
Money
interested.
money me now.
Yeah, money. Yeah, cash at me 8 squids.
Try and get a publishing place to commission you.
Scott G in the chat, welcome to the chat, has just said other than their content being shit, that's why they would Kickstarter
Hey,
it.
they did some good apocalypse games in the day where you saw some big toys smash each other.
Sure.
It was like the same entertainment value as watching Transformers movies.
Which is, they make millions.
Yeah.
They make millions. So Tom Layton in the house, missed you loads. You've become a living meme this week.
What do you mean this week? This is a common occurrence. Actually.
Yeah, so tell me some things. How have you been? I've missed you in the presence.
I've been all right. I've been okay. I've been trying to get some stuff painted, but that's gone pretty badly. I've started playing a lot of Total War again, which I know is a no-no because it's
It is a no-no because we do no work.
Yeah,
but
it's
tell me
true.
all about it. I can live vicariously
I've
through
gone
you.
for a Mortal Realms campaign
Fabulous.
with the big Total War 2 map.
Correct.
So whenever it loads round the round, I go off and do some painting or I organise something because it
So
takes a while.
you can go into the camera settings and you can have it so that it doesn't show any of the enemy movements and it'll
really?
infinitely increase your speed. You just turn it off for all the different factions and then it won't show it and it'll just whip
Okay,
it through 'em.
I'll have a look at that, but I've been trying to learn how to play on Legendary difficulty.
Wow.
So it's going okay.
So like the opposite of how you play 40k.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so here's a question though. If I wanted to play the hardest possible army in 40k, what would I play?
Oh, what would I think is the hardest army?
Because everyone says every army is easy, apart from maybe Harlequins, and that's about it.
Harlequins are not easy.
What else is not easy?
Space Wolves.
Mechanicus are not easy.
What? You just take like 50 breaches and shoot people.
Yeah, if you get the first turn.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't do anything apart from remove models. That's kind of easy.
Yes.
I think it's just that 40k in general is an easy game.
Wow. Big news. So that's our insight over for the day.
Over to someone who finds it hard.
Alright, fine. You play Genestealer cards, you've got an excuse. You're fine.
but generally you've been okay?
Yeah, I've been fine, bro.
And in the news section, we are going to hear about your games at Blood and... No, not Blood and Glory, that's this weekend.
The North Wales Open.
The North
Yeah.
Wales Open GT
I don't think I said that enough last
2019
week.
Autumn Edition. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
especially.
Sounds about right, yeah.
And so, Wallace,
Hi.
who are you and why are you here? And you're now found... The council will check out with you.
Pressure's on. Yeah, I'm Tom Wallace. I think I'm here because I think I'm the UK's designated Salamanders player.
How does that feel?
It's pretty exciting. There's pressure. They've got rules now. So if I continue to be really poor at the game, it's going to show. It's going to show more. Not great.
Having rules does tend to make you perform better.
You
Yeah.
want to pick an army that's niche and terrible.
Or has rules. Yeah.
No. But if you pick if you play Grey Knights and you don't do well, you've got a built-in excuse.
Yeah, you do. You do. You do. Although Nikos has been playing Salamanders for a long time. They didn't look green.
Many years.
They were so far away from green, FYI. Yeah, but he has been. He has been. He has one, basically. Nikos has one, like, brushed bronze. Is that correct? Is that how you describe it as a colour?
Just bronze.
Yeah, okay, bronze.
We all brush.
Yeah, all brush, I can imagine. But a bronze Space Marine army, which in my time of having known him, has it been at least... it's been definitely been Salamanders. It might have been Iron Hands recently.
It's been Salamanders, Iron Hands. I have played it once as Ultramarines.
Interesting.
I've played it as Alpha Legion, Red Corsairs. I don't know, probably other Chaos ones as well.
That's the way to go, though.
That's the future. Yeah, he's a lifelong Halo Heart player. Hello, Sinise, Alan Drell, the Wargaming Dad, Colonel Cabbage, Wolfie's Carl, Bon Clodger, thanks for subscribing for 11 months. That's nice.
Yeah.
Tom, also, it was our second birthday last week.
It was.
You excited about that?
Was. 1 year close to the grave.
Wow.
I don't know what the average life expectancy of a Twitch show is.
about 6 months.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we're doing quite well. We're going from strength to strength.
We're not dead yet.
Yeah.
It's gone quite well.
So it's going quite well. Elka Reb, hello. Mamdare, Ruskell, Scott G, and the Templar. So hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Someone said something about and Viking DK and Hermanista evening. Someone said something about SoCal Open, but I don't really know what that is.
That's fine.
Apparently
It's an American
they weren't won by Space Marines, and that's a big deal.
Really?
Although Space Marines did come second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Yeah, but not first.
It did not come
And
first.
if you're not first, you're last.
That's second loser is what you are, or top loser.
Top loser.
Yeah, that's it.
Best of a rest.
So Wallace, you're here to talk about Salamanders.
Yeah.
We need to do a little bit of an emotional deep dive on you. I'm sorry that you're not prepped for this, but
Bend over.
how long have you been playing Warhammer for?
So I got back into the hobby at the start of 8th. But I was playing Salamanders as a tiny child. So,
You're just saying that because they're the new hotness and they're like really
Yeah.
broken and really good, and that's an excuse
Nicholas,
to
that's
play
literally
them.
your entire
He doesn't jump on the bandwagon. He's got his fingers in all the pies. That's how it works.
future.
and so what made you jump back into 8th edition 40k?
Pretty lanky Space Marines, really. Yeah, longer Space Marines.
Are you telling me that you were unhappy about short Space Marines previously, so you didn't want to be
Oh,
involved?
I love short Space Marines, but I did that. Moved on. Got lanky Space Marines.
So you're into that?
Yeah, lanky Space Marines.
It's like his Space Marines. So what attracted you? So what army did you first start with when you started playing 40k?
Salamanders still. Yeah. So it's like
So hear that,
When-
Nick? Did you paint them green?
yeah, unfortunately so. I should have painted them brushed bronze though, which is apparently a colour.
Yeah.
It is a colour, like because they kind of like stippled. Are they more stippled than brushed?
Is stipple a
They're
colour?
actually sprayed bronze.
Wow.
So
So
that's
it's
what
sprayed
that's
bronze.
what it's
Burst
sprayed
it on.
bronze,
Get
yeah.
get the can really
Yeah,
cold.
have you got
and then spray it
Zethanol?
with
Have you got
that.
Zethanol underlights?
So I spray them black
Zethanol.
and then like bronze from like over the top. So kind of.
Do you wash them?
Yes.
Do you put
Do you
them
dip
in?
them?
Do you put them in a sandwich bag full of wash?
I've never.
Which is
never
how
do that.
Leighton paints.
I don't actually do that, but it's a good idea.
that's
I
a-
should do it.
It's not a good idea.
It works and it goes quickly.
Anyway.
Oh, he's having his microphone.
Friezo, hello. Okay, so then you got into Salamanders. Any other armies that you've played and why?
Gene Stealer Colts because they look cool.
They do look cool.
Turns out quite a lot harder to play than new Space Marines.
True.
So jump ship and yeah.
Jump
back to
ship.
They
Space
do have cool
Marines.
hats though.
They do have cool
Yeah.
hats.
Cool
Yeah.
hats.
Yeah, you may have seen my cowboy gunslinger
Is
Gene
them-
Stealer Colts kicking about.
What sort of type? What's he called?
Kellamorph.
Kellamorph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like metamorph. That's wrong.
Hybrid metamorph, sorry.
Freeze O has said that Tom. I imagine he's talking about you, Wallace. Is bad at 40k, which I think is rude.
I mean, it could be me. Probably me. Who is that?
Huh?
Who am I
Freeze
fighting?
Ow.
Oh yeah, I'm going to fight him at work. That's fine.
Okay. Gonna fight him at work.
In a gaming
It's
sense,
okay.
or
Yeah. No,
Violence.
generally, yeah, he's
I
fine.
want to take this outside, set up a 6x4 table and play some Warhammer.
I mean, he's quite tall for his age,
on.
to be fair. Like,
Alan also says the 11th company pioneered shake and bake painting. Which
they
is
did.
fantastic.
That's where I got it from.
All right, so let's get on with it. Wallace, it's lovely to have you on the show. Thanks for being here.
thanks for inviting me on. Thank you.
Well, it's more than a pleasure. Also, if anyone's ever interested, Wallace is also the pioneer behind both our wargaming overlays for the Honest Wargame when we do live coverage, and also our website.
No website? Yeah.
So
Fancy.
a web boy, I think, is the effective
Tech
term.
priest.
Wee
Yeah,
boy.
yeah,
boy.
tech priest. Yeah, like Nikos, also tech priest. Yeah, serious tech priest. JPIT, good evening. Right, so let's talk 40k news. Yeah, and then we're going. So the subject for the shows today is 40k news.
Good.
And then we are going to be doing a deep dive into salamanders with the world's best salamander expert.
Best salamander.
Yeah, Wallace.
Oh no. Prepare yourself.
Prepare yourself.
Before we get into 40k news, we've got some generic news, though.
We have, however, I would like to, before we do anything, just say hello to everyone on the Twitch chat.
Yeah, sure.
And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, just say big up, what you doing?
Hey,
How's
dudes.
things? Yeah, and if you listen to the podcast, I want to say, obviously, stay hydrated. Just keep that real. And I want to say thank you to everyone who subscribes on Twitch and everyone on Patreon, because you guys are babes. That's all I've got to say. So, right. And also, Canhammer TV, what up? Check out my Canhammer hat.
They even
You
get.
don't do anything for sponsorship now, aren't you?
Yeah, you sell it out.
I just got a hat.
Sold
It's
out.
because it's a
Sold
cool
out.
hat.
Just because he saved your life.
Yeah,
and now you're wearing a hat.
He did save my life. If no one's interested, Darren from Canhammer did actually restart my heart in Canada. So, like, actually with paddles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, true story.
Did you
Yeah,
actually?
yeah. So someone from the wargaming community has restarted my heart.
Someone from the wargaming community is medically qualified.
Yeah, he's a doctor.
Oh, is he?
He's like a proper serious all the way doctor.
No way.
Nice.
Yeah, like I'm not sure.
And he has time for
I think
this
maybe
game.
like feet. I'm not sure like what his speciality is.
Podiatry.
Yeah, I mean no. I think it's eyes and ears and
Gynecologist.
nose. No, I mean that's the obvious one, which is why I didn't go for the.
That's right. I went straight for it, mate.
Anyway, right. So news, generic news. Have you heard some things?
No, we've been hiding us from the things.
Okay, so what are the things?
There's something what we need to see.
Oh,
Important.
of course, yes.
Some sort of stick.
Scott G says, as a mostly podcast listener, I'm hydrated for water, but thirsty for you to upload more podcasts. Yes, apologies. It's been a very intense
Just
week.
just come and listen
And we'll do that
live.
tonight. You guys are going to have a great time with all my uploads. You're going to be like, fucking, this is sweet. Right. King Tristan says, kickstart my heart. Right, here's what's important.
right.
So listen, Games Workshop this week have unveiled a new product. Yeah, Wallace really wants us to talk about it.
Okay.
This is so important, right? Now,
Right.
you guys are a fan of the hobby handle, which was a handle,
The butt plug.
the butt plug.
Yes.
I got bought one and I've used it like I don't think I've used it ever. I just don't find it useful
So,
because like if you're painting a single model at a time, then maybe it's useful. Like if you're doing a character, then
Yeah.
I think it's useful because it's not you're not holding the model, you're not twisting your hand around in all these weird positions just to hold it. But I tend to batch paint lots of my stuff, so I don't tend like if you're using one, you have to swap it on each time. That's probably costing you more time than it's actually saving you.
okay.
The way around that is to buy 10 of them,
Which is what
I do.
people do.
Yeah.
How do you feel about people that own several? Tomb King Tristan,
think-
I have 10.
I think.
Oh,
I bet he does.
I think. Have you ever seen a cork with some blue tack on? It's probably infinitely cheaper.
What
Do you
you're
not just
saying
pin him
is-
to the cork?
Yeah, or do that.
What you're saying is you need a bumper set of several in a package as a package deal, maybe. That
what-
might help your hobby.
What if you got a discount if you bought multiple?
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting theory.
Alan just says I have 10 plus an XL because there are XL versions of them now.
Is that with the little clips?
No, those are the Groper arms. Those are a different version as well. So there's
They're for the
three.
Slanesh players. Who
Yeah. See, in this room there are two great hobbyists, Nikos and Wallace. You
What the
recently won
hell?
the
You
hobby
saw my
award.
conversions?
No,
He wins all the soft scores.
no,
Tom's a
no,
hobby award
no.
winner.
I'm an
Leighton-
award-winning
Tom Leighton
hobbyist.
is allowed no awards. I don't. You two, yes. Just admit it. We're on the same place.
I have
just
won
stick stupid
GTs
models
off my hobby
together.
scores.
Huh?
I've got 3 Sportsmen and I've won the GT
My
off based on hobby
sportsman's got
scores.
nothing to do with hobby. Why
You've
do
done
you
nicer
think
than
they're
all of you
attached? You're like anything that's not a gaming score is a silly score.
It's a hobby
and they're
score.
all in the same category.
It's a hobby score.
Anyway, this is what's come out, boys. I'm going to try and turn this around so you guys can see. So,
All I can see is Twitch chat.
okay, don't worry. Can you see this?
Wow.
That looks like a binder that you put
Oh.
paper on.
That's the other.
That's butt plugs.
Those are butt plugs. Oh,
That's a
the
red butt plug.
That's the red butt
That
plug.
sounds like someone's had an
So
accident.
sorry.
It makes you
Blood
paint
Angel
faster.
player.
I
So,
can't-
so what do you think this product is?
So, you know when you work in an office
Yeah.
and you have to bind pages together?
Yeah.
It looks like that.
Okay.
I'm
That's,
not sure what these are for, though.
All right. Interesting. Nick, what do you think this is for?
It looks like an air ventilation plate with a handle.
Interesting. What if I was to
It
tell
looks like
you?
something you'd use to, like defur your dog.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what if I was to tell you that this is the Citadel spray stick?
Ooh.
And what, and what you do with it is you put a variety of different models on it.
Where?
Well, in the slats,
they
and
got
then
any-
you elastic band them on, and then you spray them like you would if you were to blue tack them to a stick.
I'm gonna need to see this in use.
There's a video. There's a handy video. I'm sorry that I can't.
I've not seen a
Is
video.
there like a
There
pic-
is someone's
there a
got a video.
picture of
I need to see
it
a
being
video.
used?
There's not a picture of it being used, I don't think, unless anyone in the Twitch chat has it, in which case I'll show you. But
I need to see this video because I have no idea how it's even
I'll link it in the Twitch chat as well. So, how do you guys feel about that as a gift? Like, also as an item?
Do you
I mean, how
think
much does
the
it
elastic
cost?
bands are GW unique? Or that you can buy
They copyright
any?
GW elastic
Yeah.
bands.
I bet they justify them as specialist hobby
Yeah.
bands.
Because what happens if you run out of elastic bands? You have to go back to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, you
buy
have to
some
buy their official elastic bands.
I
for
have
it.
like supply kits to
Yeah.
upgrade your stick.
Oh yeah, of course.
Ooh, do you reckon they'll do a super wide stick or
Well-
a stick with
one,
river
for,
grabbers arms?
one for tanks.
Sorry,
Yes.
do you mean an XL stick?
Do you think we'd have a stick with like a bigger grip for people with big hands, such as myself?
Ooh, that's a good...
No.
No, actually, that's not going to happen.
I actually have heard that they're special edition elastic bands, but
I need to see this video because I'm still confused.
well, so currently no. But anyway, there's no
right.
video. So any word on the price? God knows, £45. I imagine.
well, okay,
It's
that
ridiculous.
makes it a good present because you can keep the receipt and return it and get £45.
Yes,
£12.
So apparently it's £12 for the stick.
£12.
And don't forget, included
And the bands. The bands
and the
included.
bands
Oh, right.
included.
Yeah, but how much time are you saving by not using your own like wooden stick with blue tag?
I don't.
I reckon it's way more time costly to like
Yeah.
fiddle all the bands and put.
I'd need to see it in action.
But then also, if you were to take, and I know I don't want to stress it too much because it's not really a hobby show. But if you were to take corks
Speak for
and you were to blue tack them onto the stick, and then take them off the stick and then blue tack them onto the cork, you've then required none of the expensive hobby products to achieve the same aim.
For that, if I'm spraying a load of mods, I just get a bit of wood off cutting, like a bit of wood, and either if the model's light enough, double-sided tape to stick them down, or just blue tack or super glue, and just ping them off with a knife afterwards. And it cost me literally some costs for super glue or blue tack, but
And the double-sided
it's
tape.
not.
And the stick.
Well, you can get wood. You can get wood offcuts for free from being
Yeah,
kid.
exactly. There you go.
So
Sorry, I'm just gonna put some shit into the chat to Hermanista who's talking smack. And
is he?
yeah, fuck you, Hermanista. Yeah.
Fucking hell! What happened to you while I was gone?
What?
What happened to you while I was gone?
You're just giving me shit on the Twitch chat. I'm not having it. Wherever you are, screw you, buddy.
It's one small step between this and the chat spamming Gachi Base for 2 hours.
Yeah, none of that. None of that. Nikos just says a bit. To Templar says Nikos, a bit of wood. Nice. Okay, so are you guys going to be picking up the Wallace? Are you going to be picking up the spray stick? No. Anyone else?
I need to see it in action before I make a decision.
Okay.
I shall not be. No.
Okay. I like how you're like later's like. Listen, I'm not out. Yeah. If I can somehow put a sandwich bag
Can I
around
turn
that
this
and then
into a
put
mega
Bag Thursday in,
What is
stick
it? What does a video need to display to you?
Mate, that's such a good idea. Right, you could get a whole bucket of Agrax Earthshade, yeah? You could stick your
Yeah.
models inside the stick and just
That's
dip
a great.
the
That's a
stick
great
inside
idea.
the bucket.
That's a great. idea.
Some excitement
That's a
coming from
great
that side
idea.
of the room.
Mate.
Okay.
That's all right, that is.
I hadn't thought of that. I'm back on the train.
Back on the gravy train.
Okay. Totally ordered once. Says sugar butty.
Also, I'm sorry, podcast listeners everywhere, but had to hear me get really excited.
That's
about
fine.
it.
Aladrol, the paint handles were surprisingly good and affordable, so I'm definitely giving the benefit of the doubt on the stick. I'm not, because I know who works in the hobby products team. I'm giving them no. They're also the people who make the dice.
Have you seen the? I showed you the IDNF dice last week. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the people who make the dice, and I'm not into those.
I'm
that
using them
team.
at the GT Heat.
And also the cases and the bags.
And they made the flamer airbrush gun.
They
years
did
ago.
make the flavour airbrush gun.
Wait, what? They made a flamer?
They made an airbrush gun which was aerosol.
And you had to buy the
powered,
aerosol separate.
And it looked like they made it look like a flamer.
Yeah.
Why not just spray the aerosol on it?
Well, so the can.
But what most people don't know, the department that makes all of these things that we see is called the hobby products team. The hobby products team make paint. Now this is what's really important, because they make so much fucking money from paint. Like no one can touch them. So they're like already in the green. Like before they start the year, they're like, mate, we've smashed it. We're already making money. They also make scenery as well. That's also the department. And some of those guys work super, super hard, right? But they're also the group who are like, we literally can't make a bad product because we're already in the positive. So then they go, stick? What about a stick with elastic bands? Something no one's asked
How many
for.
suckers will buy this piece of shit? Or do you think there's like, is there like
But
a
there were
cra-
also the people that made the 4x4 battle mats that you had to iron.
Oh yeah, they came in like a pizza box.
Yeah, they came in a pizza box. Did you see that?
order one to your door?
Yeah.
Like
But
a
they weren't
Domino's.
6x4, they were
No.
4x4. And then they released them and they were like, doesn't matter if no one buys them, we're already in the green.
You sell them to kids that play Kill Team. That's how it works.
You've still got to iron it. Though.
Do you think they have like a criteria for how many new products they have to produce for Christmas each year?
Pardon me?
Do you think they've got like a criteria for how many new products they have to produce for Christmas
No,
each
they
year?
just make what they want.
They just fuck
'Cause it's
around.
It's just their department, basically, because it's wooden dolls, right? End of the year, they just have to be like, how much money have we made? And then someone's like, well, loads again, because everyone buys paint.
Loads of
Fucking
money.
Well done, lads. Smashed it.
Doing it at the house.
Ruskles is said, how about a case that doesn't destroy models? Alandro says, I use some 1x1 lengths of wood and double-sided tape. That works great, but I don't begrudge them this. Literally the opposite. And then Ruskles is talking about the fact that the case that you can buy from Games Workshop to keep your models in does the exact opposite of what it's meant to do, i.e. keep your models safe.
Does it break them?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. No. I've never used them, but I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's not good.
Just get a really useful box.
Yeah, stick it with foam.
There you go.
Okay, a guest on the Independent Characters podcast made a City hobby stick as a joke a couple of months back. Oh dear. Okay, anyway, that's enough on the stick. Arguably too long on the stick.
Yeah.
Right, other news in 40k. Tom.
Okay, we can go on to that. So the Winter Team Championships is coming up next month. And what they've done on their Facebook page.
So what is the Winter Team Championship?
So it is a team championships
I mean-
held in the winter. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
going
that's
to
all right.
stab myself in the heart.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's anyone can submit a team, so you can go with your team of 6 players. And you can go to Croatia.
So us 4 plus 2 more can go.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I know, it's great.
This time
It
next
follows all the ETC rules, apart from it's 6 player teams, not 8. And you go and you play in a team tournament.
Okay, good.
So you get like 2 teams. There's 2 teams coming out of
I
Poland.
really enjoy making you explain things that are super simple to people. You're like, why wouldn't you understand this? It's like,
So you often get teams from like Eastern Europe and the Balkans, and sometimes France go as well, and there's sometimes some UK teams, and they go off. I know.
did you single out France specifically? You're like,
No, like France takes a couple of teams each year, I think. And then because it's not nation specific and anyone can go, you can just take whatever you want, and they go to
so
get
anyone's
some.
one game a team can go.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
So you can get some international practice, or you can test out some lists or something. Yeah,
Have they found it
Pretty big
awkward that WTC is the same as World Trade Center?
I haven't even. That hasn't even crossed my mind. All the same as World Team Championships. But
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
is. I'm just
a few.
saying.
So what they've done on their Facebook page,
Ooh,
so you can
interesting.
go onto the Winter Team Championship Facebook page if you want to follow along. Alternatively, I think I've sent Rob some pictures, so they could be coming up on the screen.
Did.
They have released
Prepare yourself.
some
Already.
some data about the teams and what they are taking in terms of their factions. Now, all of these factions are the largest detachment size in the armies, and it gives you a breakdown of which armies, how often each army is taken. So, if you look at the pie chart one, Rob,
Yeah, we were in
you can zoom in on that one.
2 to 5 minutes.
And for example, it tells you there is 1 Blood Angels player, 12 Orc players, 15 Space Marine players, and 10 Chaos Demon players. So the way this works is each team can only take each faction codex book once. So you can only have 1 player playing Space Marines, only 1 player playing with Orcs, only 1 player playing with Eldar. So you can't just take a team of 6 Space Marine players.
That sounds like a sensible way to organise a team tournament rather than just limiting it to
True.
not duplicating the thing.
Right,
Because like at the Games
exactly.
Workshop team tournament, we took 3 Iron Hands players, whereas if they said just 1 codex.
How did that go?
Exactly. So, is it on the
Thank you,
screen?
Sim.
Is it on the screen, guys?
No, close, so close.
Okay, we're fine. So a few of the interesting data points here is what I'm doing is I'm comparing these to what the ETC teams took. And I'm taking a few examples from here about which factions have gone up in priority and which ones have come down. So a few of the ones that have come up, Space Marines is the obvious one. 15 players, it's the most represented book in back
Yeah.
by quite a margin. Orcs are still quite near the top, as are Imperial Knights, actually. They're quite far up there. Then you've got Chaos Demons, Gene Steel Occults, the remaining factions with double figures representation in the field. A few other ones that have dropped off a little bit. You have Death Watch. Now, Death Watch are one of those ones where I'm not particularly surprised. They only have 3 Death Watch players at the event. And the reason I'm not particularly surprised is because at the ETC, Death Watch were kind of occupying like the 7th or 8th list that you'd think about when you were building your team and composing your team of 8. And dropping down to 6 players. All right.
You can go in.
It's fine.
I was just looking at a picture Valerie has made for me in the chat.
Dear.
So
Oh, no. Dropping down to 6 players, that's kind of one of the lists on the chopping block that you're not necessarily interested in taking. A couple of the other ones I was quite interested in are Tau have gone down significantly. Only 6 Tau players. And Adeptus Mechanicus have also dropped off down to 1. Now, what a lot of teams were doing was they were taking Tau or they were taking Admech, and they were putting it down as the first defender. And what that means is, if the opposing team puts 2 lists to play against you, you get to pick one, and then you get to pick the board. So the way it works when picking the boards is there are 2 very light boards. So you put down
lightly filled with terrain.
lightly filled with terrain. Yes, so it's more like a bowling
It's
alley.
like playing at Games Workshop.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
Except it's not a 4x4 board. So what you'd end up doing is you'd put one of those lists down, they'd pick something to play against, and then you'd put them on a lightly covered board, and you'd try and shoot someone off the table.
Sounds fun.
So, but you wouldn't be able to do that with 2 armies because you'd put one down, you'd take both the light terrain boards away, and then the other one would be stuck on a heavy board.
Right.
So you'd either have Tau or you'd have Admech. So they kind of split the representation for those 2 armies. Which means, but the interesting thing is both of them have dropped, rather than it being one's dropped in favour of the other one. Admech, I think I'm less surprised by because at the ETC, the terrain was very heavy. So even on the light boards, you still had somewhere to hide and you couldn't really pressure for those big point wins. So they've dropped off.
And all
quite
the
a bit.
output from Mechanicum, it comes from range, right?
Yes, pretty much. Because what you'd end up doing is you'd see people taking 50 breaches and then just sitting there with bubble buffs and shooting people off. And that would be the aim.
My tactic.
Yeah, great, very skilled plays. But Tau have dropped off as well.
Bro.
Yeah. So Tau have dropped off as well, which I found was quite interesting.
That's interesting. Why Tau dropped off? They've got to be like surely like 3rd best army in the game. ATM.
Well, I don't know if people have just said, "Oh, well, we'll just use Space Marines in that role." I think that might be a case because if you're taking repulsors, it's again, a light board is very helpful to you. If you get a repulsor list on a very light board, you've pretty much got a guaranteed max
Is
win.
the opposite true though? Is it because the sheer weight of bolter fire coming out of Marines, like an indirect fire that you can see, is that like it's not outranging Tau, but like it is at the Tau range, but Tau suffer a lot worse because they like all their drones just vanish, right?
Well, so we can talk about which one is better on a lighter board then.
Well,
And the reality is, I think on a lighter board, it's much easier to get at the drones if you need to.
That's what I'm saying.
Marines, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The Marines are less like susceptible to that.
what I'm saying is
comes
that
from
not
characters.
necessarily that Tau are now. Marines are fulfilling the role of Tau. Is that Marines are the counter to Tau?
It could be. It could be. I'm not entirely sure. It depends on the boards because you've still got somewhere to hide in the backline. But then Marines have a lot of access to things like Thunderfire cannons and whirlwinds that allow you to pick those drones off from the backside. So it's possible as well.
Also, let's come back to the term "pick those drones off the backside" in 10 years, because I reckon we got like a future of dystopia ahead of us,
Yeah,
and that's a cool phrase. Okay, sorry, please continue.
No, that's pretty much it, man. So we're going through those. Obviously, Orcs very well represented. Craft Worlds actually are down to 8 players, which I thought was quite interesting.
And there's one Yunari guy.
There's one Yunari guy. You do have 9 Drakari players. So what I'm thinking is those players are mixing. So you've got Drakari and Craft Worlds in the same list, and then some will have a bigger detachment of Craft Worlds, some will have a bigger detachment of Drakari, but pretty much every team will have a look at it. So you'll go to the if you go to the first image, which is the Excel spreadsheet, and you look through, you won't see too many teams with both Drakari and Craft Worlds.
Yep.
So it makes me think that you're mixing. So I can immediately see Poland Team Shield has Space Marines, Imperial Knights, Drakari, Tau, Gene Stealer Cults, and Orcs. So you don't have both Craft Worlds and Drakari in there. So
Which is very different to the beginning of the year. I'd have almost said that Drakari and Craft World would auto include with Knights.
Yeah.
That's you're starting your army. Then maybe Demons Tau.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who's
Tau were very up there, yeah.
Yeah, Tau were very up
Yeah.
there.
I mean, look, France as well. Drakari, Astra Militarum, Thousand Suns, Gene Stealer Cult, Space Marines, Orcs. You only have one faction in there as well.
Really? Actually,
Yeah.
picking Astra Militarum over Drakari seems bonkers.
Yeah. Greece White, Space Marines, Craft Worlds, Orcs, Drakari. Oh, they've got Craft Worlds and Drakari in there, so they have split them up, but I think that's suboptimal. But we're also the Greek B team, so you never know. So
Oh, so interesting.
interesting
So,
stats. Go and have a look on the WTC Facebook page if you want to.
so and when is the
See a bit more.
WTC?
It's sometime in November. I haven't really had a look at it because it's just not.
It's not on your radar.
It's not my. When the results come out, I'll have a look at them. But it's
But
not
you
something I'm
thought there
actively
was
following.
enough of an interesting team dynamic to.
Oh, yeah,
because I
100%.
suppose one of the things that as you especially are looking at is obviously with ETC next year.
Yeah.
Like team comps start to become like a conversation and a thought process, right?
Yeah.
And analysing those trends.
How are you going to do the drafts in the start of a round? Yeah.
Yeah, very, very interesting. That's cool because ETC, just in case people aren't aware, is 8-man teams.
Yes.
So cool. So this 6-man team format. And Nick, you've been playing a lot of teams as well. Wallace, you've never played any team events so far?
I've not. No, I'm looking to next year though, for sure.
Yeah, they're good fun. They're really good fun.
Really good fun. Probably the best format of Warhammer,
I love
in my
it. I
opinion.
love it.
But that's only everyone in the room's opinion.
Still love playing singles.
Yeah, I do.
It is. Yeah,
It feels like
still
you've got enough
playing
Even Gozzy?
by
singles,
yourself, but
Huh? Hi, Gozzy.
you like on the
Aladdin
wave.
says, new 40k stat show hosted by Tom.
Can do.
A show actually with stats in. Hashtag awkward. Love you, Fal. And also the Falcon. Love the Falcon. He's great.
Caca.
Yeah, that guy. Okay, so that's cool news.
Yeah.
Other news is obviously this is still Tom centric, super Tom centric. But you were at an event this weekend.
I
Tom.
was.
Because we actually listened to the show last week. You were absolutely smashing it, 4-on-1, no problems
No
at this
issues.
event.
I
That's
said
what
I'd
you
hope to. That's what I said I'd hope to do. I said if I
Nick?
got anything less, it'll be disappointing.
I don't remember hearing the word hope.
I said I should.
Like definitely going to. Like
Nah, okay, well,
100%
people can go-
going to.
I
People
know,
can go back and watch the show.
Yeah,
if
you
they
can
want to.
because
Yeah.
that's the proof, right? And how did you actually do?
I didn't even finish the event.
Wow. So there's become a hilarious meme on the twits of your face. So let us
With no
know,
chin.
Yeah, let us know what happened in a few of your games.
So
please.
I rocked up to round one. I was playing as Dracari players.
Oh, so where were you playing? FYI,
North
sorry.
Wales Open, so
Okay.
it was in Wrexham, which was quite fun because I've been to watch for football at Chesterfield a bit, and the Chesterfield fans are really annoying. They've played Wrexham 3 times about, and it was right opposite the Wrexham ground where we were playing, so that was nice. Played Dracari round one. It was a pretty good game. I got the Shining Spears all buffed up because I'm using the Shining Spears with the 2+ invulnerable save and all that nastiness.
How did you feel about having a 2+ invulnerable
It
save?
was funny. I charged him into the entire Dracari.
I don't. Nick, as my other favourite Eldar here. What are your feelings on Eldar?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate them?
Yeah, like
Ooh.
you're not allowed to positively.
How
like
much do
it.
I hate 2+ invulnerable saves on Shining Spears? I'd say
Great.
quite a lot.
Only
out of
one
10.
2+ invulnerable save, but I'm re-rolling
Oh,
it, so I'm not
yeah.
failing it.
Rollable 2+.
That's fine
Yeah.
then. Yeah. That's
No,
Kind of.
legit.
I can get a free reroll off a Psychic Power, and I can get a free reroll off a CP.
out of 10, Wallace.
Change it.
Change it.
What do you mean you can smite him and beat him up? It's fine.
Please, Reese, if you could just
Flame
threaten to ban that as well, that'd be
No,
great.
it's no problem. It's
Yeah,
fine.
team
So I charged him into the Dracari lines. I killed 3 vehicles and 2 squads of Cavalry Warriors. Then he shot his entire army at my Shining Spears. And even though I tried to get one of them to die by using the 3+ invulnerable save, so he'd be a longer charge for his Incubi, I didn't lose a single model. And then he kind of died.
What toughness are they?
4.
What do they save? Do they have when they don't have the invuln save?
They have a 3+ armor, 4+ invulnerable base. Yeah.
2+ invulnerable at that point.
Right, there you go. I was using a 3+.
But then the
thank you.
incubi obviously wiped them out.
The Incubi failed with charge. So that's kind of nasty. I did have a Yunkan right next to his Razor Wing Jetfighter though, and then I forgot to charge it because I ran off to see how much time was left in the rugby. And
Oh,
I came
right.
back and said, right, your turn.
Oh dear.
Oops.
So
And then
did
it
you win that
flew away.
game?
I did win that game.
Okay.
And then I played against a Necron army.
Oh my god,
And
I'm
I
so
had
excited.
3 Doom Scythes, 3 Doomsday Arcs,
Nick, thoughts?
2
Sounds
Ghost
pretty
Arcs with Necron Warriors inside, and then a squad of 10 Immortals with Veil of Darkness. And they had Mephrit, so they had AP -2. And then I'm like, right, it's quite an open board. As long as I go first, I'll be okay. Even if I don't go first, I can deploy in the backside and kind of mitigate some of the damage he's doing. And I get a first turn roll, and I'm like, yes, okay. I'll deploy on the line because he has this massive hill that he's hiding behind.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to jump forwards, and I'm going to kill all his planes. And then he won't be able to kill my Shining Spears because I'm going to kill his Deceiver too.
Nice.
So I set up on the line, and I had to set up in 3 bricks because he's got his Mortal Wound stratagem with his Doom Scythes.
Yeah.
And when joking, he's not going to seize. He's definitely not going to seize. When he rolls his dice and he seizes. And I'm like, oh, shit. So a Phantasm of Shining Spears away. He comes forward with his Deceiver and drops 2 Ghost Arcs and then all his planes in my face and kills everything. So all of my Wind Rider bikes are dead. All of my characters on the front are dead, apart from the 2 I Phantasm behind the Shining Spears. I'm like, it's okay. He can't kill the Shining Spears apart from with a Deceiver. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fly my planes across. I'm going to shoot some vehicles. I'm going to kill some planes so he can't do the Mortal Wounds strat again. I'm going to doom his Deceiver. I'm going to kill it. And my Shining Spears are going to run around the 2+ save and kill everyone.
Yeah.
So I doom the Deceiver. I fly my Shining Spears over. I shoot into the Deceiver with a couple of pot shots going into a squad of Necron Warriors, but everything else into the Deceiver. I charge the Deceiver, this thing with 8 wounds, 4+ invulnerable save, and I do 2 damage each with all my shooting and charging. Yeah. And he fails 3 saves. And he lives with 2 wounds. And he turns around and twats a bunch of Shining Spears. And I'm like, oh, fuck, well, game's over. And then we get to a point, actually, where he blows up one of my planes, and then the plane explodes on his Deceiver and kills the thing. But the Shining Spears have already taken too much damage. I can't do the work. And I'm just like, well, okay. That's where that picture came from when he sees them, and I'm just sat there like
fantastic
stewing. It's like, well, I guess this is what Rob means by the first turn problem.
That's exactly what I mean by the first turn problem. That picture.
Well, here's the thing: if I know I'm going second, I can deal with it.
Yeah,
but I didn't. So.
Yeah, my last game of the team tournament, I got seized on by Tau, and when you deploy knowing you're going first and then all just on one dice roll they go first, it does screw you over quite
well, especially as you've played for it for a certain eventuality.
Yeah.
So round 3 I played against Chris, and we just did he played like his knights with his Moirax Almega things, which were kind of nasty, but I just kind of ran through his army and I got 31 VPs, which meant I was top of a 2-1 bracket. So going into day 2 I was in the top 4, which means if I win out I win the event, even though I've lost a game. And I was playing against Mike Porter in round 3.
Great guy.
He was a good dude. Problem was he had Manny Chima's list of 110 guardsmen, which I can't actually charge. And
Why can't you charge them?
Because the moment I charge him, they hit me with 3 attacks each at strength 4.
Fighting.
Yeah. So I charge him, I kill like 40, 50 of them max, and then the rest of them just walk in and punch me in the head and I die. So I was like, all right, sound. And he's got all the Smash Captains and the Libby Dreads and all that kind of nonsense. So I go first to kill a bunch of guardsmen, and then he's got a bunch of indirect fire in the back line, which kills all the bikes again. So
Those bikes seem like a target.
yeah, those bikes do seem like a target, and they're quite flimsy, so that wasn't too great. And then I essentially just can't stop him from contesting the middle of the board, so he just takes all the points and wins the game. So I'm 2-2, and I'm just like, well, I can podium, it's like fine, and I've been having a good time, but at the end of the day, there was something going on at home that was missing to play the event, and we had an odd number of players, and Chris was like, please someone come and ring it. I don't want to play.
Yeah.
So I was just like, look, Chris, I'll probably head back to Sheffield, do my thing, and then you can have a break from playing.
Yeah.
And then, because I'm not playing for any free anyway, so I'm not that fussed.
So, overall, obviously, I know the season's a thing, but this is your first play out with the new
Eldar.
rules, new Eldar. Like, what are your thoughts? Like, especially going into the marine heavy meta.
I didn't like the list. There's a lot of change about it. I definitely take out. I'm thinking about taking out the Wind Rider jet bikes because they just die too easily in an environment with so much indirect fire. So I'm thinking of swapping them out for Wave Serpents and then seeing if they do enough damage.
Yeah.
I also have the Yunkan in there, which I really do rate. The problem is, it's just, do I need those points to make the rest of all this work? In which case, I can easily drop it and buy like 2 more Wave Serpents, which isn't really an issue. I am a bit concerned because I'm taking it to Blood and Glory as well, because I had to submit on the Saturday I was there. So I submitted it to Blood and Glory, and I'm running the same list. And Goonhammer wrote an article saying, "Oh, this list is really good."
Your list?
Yeah, just sit there like, it's actually dog shit. But
then that's the difference, right? About it on paper than in practice.
Yeah, exactly. Well, which is why on paper I submitted it to a bunch of events, because it looked like it'd be okay. But I think in reality I need quite dense terrain for the Wind Riders, which is kind of tricky. But yeah, it was a really good event. I had a great time with
the terrain last year at Blood and Glory was variable, but a lot of the tables did have quite a lot of terrain.
Yeah,
so.
we'll see how it goes. Should be a fun event. If it doesn't go well, I'm actually going in with very few expectations now, because I don't rate my list at all. I'm not really.
Well, that's interesting, right? But like, you'll also know about its fragility and its application.
Yeah, sure. I know I can play it better. I don't expect to have played it perfectly after my first 4 games with it, but that doesn't mean that I think it has a particularly high ceiling.
Yeah. Nick, are you playing Blood and Glory? Mm-hmm. Wow! So we got to, next week here. Listen to both of our pros talking about their 40k experiences at the weekend. I imagine Tom just walking away now with the top place is going to be.
Yeah.
Well, last year I was going to Blood and Glory and I was saying, look, I really should go 5-0. I mean, I did. So.
But
This
this year,
I'm
you're
I'm really going to shit my bed.
I should go 2 and 3.
I should 3 and 2. I think is like minimum.
Valerie in the chat says +2 invulnerable save on the spears as a trap. I like the +1 charge more.
Why?
Great question.
So you can take it with Bealtan. I mean, you can take it with Ghost Walk and give it a +4 to its charge range.
But still have a +2 invuln save.
Right. No, you can have a 3+ invulnerable save maximum with Protect. I'm not necessarily a fan of that because it's a case of you're moving 44 inches anyway. You probably don't need an extra inch. Whereas I like the 2+ invulnerable save.
How far did he say they were moving?
44 inches. 'Cause I'm taking him as Sim Han. So what you do is you move 16, you advance, and then you advance and move again, and then you use a stratagem to advance and charge. So I don't really need the extra inch most of the time, unless I'm like trying to jump into a backfield, in which case people are probably screening anyway.
Yeah, I
So-
don't really believe in a +1 plus like onto 40. If it's like I move 5, I'm like,
I already have a +2 to my
charge.
charge range anyway from Ghost Walk. So the 2+ invulnerable save makes it pretty much impervious to long range shooting. So I'm always going to get to trade first.
But it's not them that are dying. It's the
No.
support elements around
The
them.
Shining Spears were insanely good.
Yeah.
They were really, really good. It was the rest of the army that sucked ass.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. All right.
Apart from the Crimson Hunter Exarchs, they were baller.
Okay. Nick, what are you taking next week to the event of the weekend?
Iron Hands. So it's
What a wanker.
similar to my team list. So I've got 3 Thunderfire Cannons,
Good choice.
2 units of Intercessors, 10 and a 9, and 1 unit of 5 Tactical Marines.
They're a
Super
thing.
Tech, yeah.
Tactical Marines.
And they're being put on the front line to
5
kill them off
Tactical
quickly.
Marines.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, they're there to maybe score engineers and stuff. And then a Lieutenant 6 with them. And then I've got 3 units of 5 Scouts. And then I've got my 2 drop pods with 3 units of 5 Gravgun.
Oh, yeah. Drop pods, baby.
Company Ancient, Lieutenant, and Chapter Master. And then I forgot anything else. I can't remember. There might be something else in there, but I've forgotten. Oh, a Librarian and a Chaplain.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you got all the characters.
Oh, and a Mortis Dreadnought with all the las cannons.
Oh,
So
there it is.
one
Yeah.
character
With
Dreadnought.
las cannons.
Las cannons, yeah. And I played a practice game last Friday, and I realised a really cool trick that I can do with my list that was really fun, but also pretty good as well. So my Librarian has the psychic power that we talked about, the obscuration,
Obscuration.
obscuration something. It's the one where it's a debuff. So you cast it on your enemy, and if they roll an unmodified 1, they do a mortal wound to themselves. So the way I'm planning on using it with my drop pods is, so I drop my drop pods in, I shoot all the really reliable grav guns at whatever, and then if I can cast that power on an enemy, then what I can do is once I've dropped down, shot all my grav guns, I can charge. So let's say it's a repulsor with loads of shots and loads of guns. So I charge it with one of my Devastator squads. They fire Overwatch, forcing them to roll 1s, and because they've got so many shots, they're going to roll hopefully a few 1s.
Yeah.
But then even if they kill me with the Overwatch, my company agent, half of them are going to shoot back. So I drop down, shoot, charge you, you kill yourself, and then you kill me, and then I kill you as well.
What happens if a repulsor player just doesn't fire Overwatch?
Then you're in combat with it, which is
Do you
good.
have? I don't know if you have to, or
You don't have to.
You don't have to
No.
fire Overwatch.
But you could get someone in the trap with that one.
Yeah,
Yeah. Someone might just still do it anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, people are pretty bloodthirsty. I think generally people are like the opportunity to
Oh,
roll dice.
I can do
I'll
it, so I
take it.
shall.
Yeah. I can do it. Yeah, all the time. If you ever just put like something in the middle and then you just watch your opponent and they're like, I'm going to shoot that. You're like, cool. All right, bro.
And they'll say, oh, but I need to remove it. It's like, yeah, you just remove it in your turn after flying away.
Killer Cabbage says, drop pods, tactical marines and las cannons is a real throwback list. Is your chaplain on a bike?
No, but I'm using an
Can you even
old
do that anymore?
Chaos Warrior for my chaplain.
Of course you are.
Is any special weapons on the tap marines or just bolters?
Just bolters.
Just bolters. Very old school. Thunderfire cannons. Someone send this man to the police.
What?
Why?
And that's not just because he likes to assault children at this event.
Oh yeah, last year was when you punched that kid.
Yeah,
Oh, dear.
I promised Liam I'm on my best behaviour.
In the UK, says taking my super broken Raven Guard Centurions, Imperial Fist Centurions, and Salamander Aggressors this weekend. That's what. You should just do a soundboard as a list review. Someone should send you a list. And
I think we should start a Kickstarter for that. If Mini Wargaming can start one for Warhammer Fantasy Battles, we can get a Kickstarter.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, all right. Well, that's some pretty cool news. Release of the Eldar. But this week, the big news and also the focus of the show this week is the Salamanders book release. I narratively am excited about Salamanders. I can't wait for maybe a book to come out about them, possibly Primark book. That would be the one I'd read. Probably none of the other books. When it comes to 40k from Black Libraries, it's great. And then
Okay.
Chill.
Pleasant for pages.
Pleasant for pages.
And Wallace is here to talk about Salamanders. Nikos is a big Salamanders fan, and Tom has read at least 3 articles about them. So,
No, I haven't.
Oh.
I have read 2.
okay, so prepare yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, for possibly the greatest review of a a codex that's not a codex.
Tribute.
A supplement.
Yeah. Is this just a tribute? Salamanders. Does everyone know the narrative of the Salamanders?
No, I do
They're
not.
nice.
I do not.
Excellent. Wallace.
Well, if Valrak's in the chat, we should probably talk about Vulcan, really, who's assumably coming back soon.
Assumably coming back
YouTube
soon.
video to come.
Do you know much about the backstory for Salamanders?
Yeah, so they've got the biggest, strongest Primarch, best Primarch.
Blackest.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, not black though. Ebony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Due to, although I'm not sure how retconned the
initial
skin
narrative
tone
is.
changing has
Apparently
varied
now,
over the
apparently
years.
their skin tone now is because of the radiation that's on Nocturne, their home planet, and that's why their skin adapted to stop the radiation. Initially, they were black because of a genetic defect. Was the initial story, but Ixnay on the racist Games Workshop.
obsidian. That is the word to use.
Thank
That's the
you.
one.
Yeah.
Although I think in the supplement they just say they have obsidian skin and then just like leave it.
Yeah, they're like, they're
drop
like,
that.
yeah, don't talk to us.
Yes. So
Okay.
they come from a volcanic world full of dragons.
It's actually got dragons.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's where the
cool.
name comes from. The
Why
Salamanders.
don't they have any dragons in battle then?
They're not actual dragons, aren't they? More like lizards.
I'm just saying what
giant
a Komodo
lizards.
dragon
You
is.
could
a
say
dragon.
giant salamanders, yeah.
Yeah. Why don't they ride them into? They sort of kill them as part of a ritual to become a salamander. So perhaps they're not good enough. If like
They don't care about animal rights. But,
Yeah.
you know.
No. I don't know. Maybe they're just not allowed. But if
that
you
seems
can,
rather wasteful.
well, there's not many of them. There's not many actual
That's even
space
worse. That's
salamander
even,
space.
that's even
marines.
worse if they're like
So-
endangered species.
No, there's
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
the salamander
So yeah,
space.
if each salamander has to kill one of these space dragons,
So
perhaps the chapter's actually quite small because
how do they?
they're like limited. You've got to get a license to kill.
Maybe it's like
dragon
maybe it's
at
like
a
the
time.
conservation where like you hunt like one antelope or like an elephant, but then you have to pay like £1 million, and then they can breed like 32 elephants.
So I've been reading my way through the Song of Ice and Fire series, and in one of the books, when they do the Unsullied and how they become Unsullied, is I think they have to kill like a puppy or something. So they like breed a puppy and they look after the puppy, and then when they become Unsullied, they have to kill the puppy
Just like
to
in
show
Kingsman.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
To
exactly
show
right.
that they're
Committed.
they're emotionally detached from.
Innes Wilson
things,
says,
so-
I'm subscribing for Tom's ultimate boomer energy.
I am a boomer.
the
It's like the youngest
intergenerational wars
person here.
have begun. I also know that they're actually the most humanitarian of the legions,
Yep, that's a justification for a hilarious stratagem within the book. I think.
which does
Yep.
what?
we'll
Makes
talk about it
them
later, it's
Unkillable.
nasty.
We'll get to that.
Okay,
Not
yeah.
just them,
So they're
yeah,
good
yeah.
guys.
everybody.
Yeah, so they would hug puppies.
Yeah, they
They're
would.
They're the Space Marine chapter that would hug puppies.
They would hug
Or
them.
kills lizards.
Whereas like
Kills lizards though.
Whereas the
Yeah.
Ultramarines would probably murder them and use the puppy fat to grease the engines of their war
The
machine.
Codex commands it.
Yeah, because the Codex commands it.
Yeah.
Not saying they're Nazis, but they're Nazis. The most humanitarian, that's all I know about them. They love fire,
Yeah, so
and their
they're the
daddy's
most-
been missing.
Yeah, the most humanitarian and also the most likely to set you alight in battle. So
That's a human.
Geneva Convention.
They love fire.
Arse.
Love it, yeah. The Templar says harshest space marine chapter. Tom's chapter is too dark. The puppy killers.
True.
Yeah, the puppy killers.
But that's Nikos's chapter because it's
The bronze ones.
They're the kid punchers.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll stop appropriately.
Yeah, so
Brothers in arms.
and they're also master artisans, right? Salamanders.
Yep.
He famously Vulcan famously crafted like many a good piece of armor, and that's what they're famous for.
Made a dreadnought, didn't he?
Artisans. He did Braearth Ashmantle.
Oh, that's going to be
the
fun.
most,
Glad.
the most powerful of all dreadnoughts. Hashtag Redemptor's Wish.
Hashtag go green.
So yeah, the volcanic planet churns up vital minerals that they trade with the AdMech, get loads of extra free goodies, and then so that's how they got access to all the good stuff. Mastercrafted everything.
Mastercrafted everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're masters. Okay, so the actual rules. Let's talk about them. So what's their thing that they get?
That's not vague.
Well, no, so
The chapter tactic.
yeah, the chapter tactic. Sorry.
I didn't mean to be pedantic.
No,
It's
that's correct.
What is the thing that
Yeah.
they have?
Yeah.
So their their baseline. What's it called?
The core
It's
book.
called Forged in Battle.
Yes.
So Forged in Battle is you have two rules. The first one is you get a single hit roll and single wound roll every time a unit with this chapter tactic is chosen to fight or shoot or overwatch.
So really good on those las cannons.
It's really good on those individual model units, which is why it's like why people take death skulls on shock attack guns because you get maximum efficiency of the rerolls.
That's
And
what
then-
you were doing previously, Nick, before the book came out on like Salamanders dreadnoughts, right?
Yeah, just like there. Lots of little dreadnoughts or little tiny units of veterans with plasmas.
Yeah. So valuable rerolls.
Yeah.
Valuable rerolls.
And then the second part of it is you count AP -1 weapons hitting you as AP 0. So you ignore AP -1.
Nice. That's kind of all right.
It's all right.
It's all right. But now all the bottles have got AP2.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So what you can either do is you can have that, or you can swap it out for successor chapter tactics,
Okay.
but you still get to keep things like the doctrine and the relics. Apart from there's one set of relics that you can only get when you use this CP to access them if you're a successor chapter. So we've got a few. I don't know if you guys have had much of a look at the successor chapter tactics that you could take.
The ones that are specifically useful for.
The ones that are particularly useful for
Combine well
Salamanders.
with
or
the
ju-
super
yeah.
doctrine.
Or just the ones that are good.
Well, ones that are good specifically for Salamanders.
All right.
Should
yeah.
we
Yeah.
mention the super doctrine first, and then sort of
can
reference
mention the
how
super doctrine,
the
yeah,
chapter,
we can
the
do that,
success
yeah.
ones. So the I don't know if it's got an actual term yet. The super doctrines, but the Promethean cult one in the Salamanders book is so in the tactical doctrine. So
Yep.
from turn 2 onwards, potentially, it's +1 to wound with flamers.
Is it +1 or reroll ones?
It's +1.
+1.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I read
So
it
there's
wrong.
lots and lots of ways in the book to get +1 to wound.
On melters and flamers.
But this one, yeah, +1 to wound, tactical doctrine, melters and flamers. Yeah.
Just excited by that.
But like
'Cause obviously all I keep thinking about is
Pyrotechnics.
Yeah, is pyrotechnics. Yeah, because I actually collected a Salamanders, Horus Heresy Legion. So OG, old school. I had a load of pyroclasts and fire rate terminators, but none of those are in here, obviously. Sad face. But it was all about burning things, listening to hip hop, just having a great time. Hashtag awkward. But unfortunately, so yeah, +1 to wounds, huge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
fair,
yeah.
yeah.
If you got the range.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to the successor chapters.
So I've got 4 listed here. You ready? So you lose your initial chapter tactic,
Yeah.
but you can get one part of it back. So you could take Master Artisans, because remember you can take 2 of these, and this one allows you to get back the reroll 1 hit and 1 wound roll every time with units. The second one I've got listed is Stealthy, so you can also get something very similar to the second part back if you wanted that. And you can gain the benefit of cover when being attacked from more than 12 inches away with range weapons. So now, rather than you ignoring AP -1, you're effectively treating the AP as, like, if it's AP -1, it's 0, AP -2, -1, because you're getting a +1 to your save naturally.
Right.
But that's
bad.
only when you're without. But then you have the qualifier for range. So if
Yeah.
it's closer, it's worse. But if it's further away, it's better, right? You can also take. I've seen a lot of people talk about Stalwart, which allows you to effectively 1s and 2s to wound your units are always fails.
That's huge.
Well, you say that, but how often are you winning Marines on 2s? You have to be strength 8
Or ones even.
Or once.
But one's never. I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you're right. That's a
few
good
people have been
point.
talking about it, but it's not really my thing. And then what Wallace was alluding
Wouldn't
to.
it be good in a mirror match versus Salamanders?
There you go. Yeah. But,
Oh, and Space Wolves.
yeah,
Don't they get
Plus
plus one? No, they get plus one to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Blood Angels.
Blood Angels.
Yeah.
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 That's actually the army I'm worried about most.
Just generally.
What, because they're doing so badly? Or?
Yeah,
It's 'cause they're really pale,
Like,
yeah.
I genuinely got like a little bit of I'm creeped out by vampires generally.
Have you seen what we do in the shadows?
Is that like a video you sent me or?
No, it's a film. Have I seen a film that you haven't seen?
And a popular
Get
TV
absolutely
series.
fucked. There you go.
Oh, no.
I have not seen it.
there.
You tell me. This is the first. Is that the only film you've seen?
But you haven't, yeah. There you go.
Sorry, you
No,
can't.
you're fine. And then what Wallace was leading to there is the long-range marksman success tactic, which is you get +3 to a range of your range weapon. So now your flamers are becoming range 11, which means you could deep strike potentially, or just drop out of 9-inch range,
Or receive a deep strike.
or you could receive a deep strike, and then
Everything
all the
dies.
stuff. Yeah, there you go. Have a bit of a burn.
So that's only really good if you're going all in on flamers, though, right?
So how does this-
melter guns is not well. I suppose.
Well, that's the
One
point.
and a half extra inches
how
on
do
your
you-
melter
Yeah.
range.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Do you add the +3 before or after you count the half? Because if it's an 18-inch
Oh.
range,
4, right?
That is a...
because if it's a are you halving the range for the purpose of melter before you add bid mass?
I think you take because it's adding to the range of the weapon. So if it's range
Yeah.
24, it
But
goes
not to range of the
20.
effect.
Yeah, so the
it's
the
worth,
range...
It's
yeah,
worth talking
to the
about
character
because a
range.
few people will say, "Well, actually, my melter range is now 12 inches," and
That's what I'd say.
yeah, exactly
that
like
wrong?
that. Yeah,
So the correct answer is.
we think it's probably no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
you'd halve it. It's still extended by 1.5.
Yeah, you can get
But-
some use out of it.
1.5 inches to a flamer
With
Yeah,
more- yeah.
Like,
well,
you
more
can do a
to
lot
the
of
melter.
1.5 inches, Rob.
on a flamer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Sweet.
Spurt all that hot flame out. So Wallace,
Hello.
what do you think? Do you think you take the chapter tactic forged in battle, or do you think you swap it out for a couple of these?
It is hard to see a reason to not... If you're building around the flamers, which it seemed the stratagems do seem to be sending you that way, it is hard to overlook the long range marksman thing.
Yeah.
You're losing out on various ways to get re-rolls on all the
You
various
could always take
flamer
it with
rolls.
master artisans, couldn't you?
You could.
You can still keep
You
one
could.
part of it
Yeah,
and then
that's
just
true.
swap out one for...
Yeah, so I think the only thing you'd be lacking is, given that you want to be putting out as many hits as possible with flamers. I think that's the only real upside to them, is you just get masses of hits.
Maximum. I
You're-
want all the fire.
Yeah, that kind of completely goes against the Master Artisan's thing of rerolling one thing. So it's almost like the Salamanders build around throwing hundreds of flamer hits at you, and then you can reroll one.
Well,
one.
you can make the
Yeah,
argument
that
for
doesn't
for the
seem
chapter tactic
too
as
bad.
well, which is literally the same thing.
That is true.
So,
So it's a tricky one. So that's the if I would say the only reason to take the actual Salamanders chapter is for the various ways to get, well, basically to get Vulcan Hestan to full reroll to wound
yeah.
with flamers. And
Well, if you take the successor chapter, you can't take the special characters,
exactly,
right?
that would be
So
the
that's
main.
one of the downsides.
Vulcan Hestan
But-
good. Hashtag
Well, we
spoilers.
can go into that in a second, but
Mm.
just to quickly finish this bit off.
It's got a
Even
state
if you
there.
don't want to take the longer range marksman, I think you can still swap out the base ones for master artisans and stealthy, and it's actually better
Yeah.
than what you currently have.
Yeah, I think you want to
At doing
stealthy,
exactly the same thing.
What's stealthy give you?
It gives you the benefit of cover when being shot at
Yeah,
from outside
so
12 inches. And
basically
if,
the
then, yeah, if you
Salamanders are only better against -1 AP. 'Cause
Yeah.
There's the potential to have
Yeah.
like a 2-up saving cover against auto cannons,
Yeah.
except from other Space Marines.
and then if things are within 12-inch range, then you're now exactly
Yeah.
where you want things.
So-
So, it works out
Stealthy
fine.
is better for sure.
Yeah. What did you think of the chapter doctrine, by the way? Did you think it was good? I thought it was quite underwhelming, actually.
It's very niche.
What, +1 to win with the flamers and
And
the
Yeah.
melter?
melters, yeah, it's very short
It
range.
feels like the most niche super doctrine
Yeah.
of all the supplements,
Yeah.
which isn't a problem given that it's very fluff orientated.
Yeah.
It does feel potentially the most niche though. So
Yeah. But obviously you get that all the time, regardless of whether you're a successor chapter or not. But obviously you don't get the chapter tactic if you are a successor, and you also don't get the special characters. So have you had a look at the
so
two
hang on,
special
so you
characters
don't
there?
get which part of the chapter tactic don't you get?
So, no, what I'm saying is, if you become a successor chapter, you trade in your forged in battle chapter tactic.
So you can. I think you can keep that, but I don't know why you would you? You could technically take.
Okay,
a
well,
success-
how would you keep it?
What in terms of how to using the rules? I don't know actually. You've got me. Basically,
Okay.
successor chapter rules.
No, it's fine. It's okay.
so-
I was just trying to segue into the
you-
units.
I
but-
think-
Can I
Yeah.
just talk about the fact that Scott G's made in the chat, which I think is absolutely correct. There are not enough good melter and flame weapons
True.
from the Primaris range, generally just in the game as is. Like,
Yeah,
give me my
that's why
super
I
flamers.
really want them to bring out, like, they've got Hellblasters. So it's 5 Primaris Marines or 10 all with plasma gun weapons. So there's 3 types of plasma gun weapons for them. I really want them to bring out
A melter variant.
melters, flamers, and like maybe a heavy bolter type variant, like
Because they brought out the auto cannon variant, haven't they? Really, with the flying
the
ones.
silly flying guys.
Yeah. So then, I agree. There definitely is like some heavy support slots that maybe in
Yeah.
the future like would suit. Because I imagine now that these are like they've produced these books. Obviously, number one, these books are going to stay as they are for a few years. But also, more importantly, even if these books eventually get updated, it's going to be around that element of Salamanders get only better flamers and melters. That's their thing. So just having more
Because
melters
you
and
need to
flamers-
make more models. You don't take models away from a range. You add models in. And
Yeah,
do-
so-
this gun's got a nice little flamer looking
Yeah,
thing.
I think
Yeah.
there would be some cool. Like it'd be cooler to have some better heavy support options, but eventually, more lanky boys.
Yeah.
Always more lanky boys, but mainly the melter thing. I think aggressors have definitely nailed the flamers.
Element.
Although,
Yeah.
unfortunately, they have a better weapon choice.
Yes, absolutely. But
kinda
you
sad.
can't really complain when it's more. That's more of an issue with flamers as an actual weapon, I guess.
Okay, all right. So the super tactic is +1 to wound. So where do we move on from here?
Characters?
Yes,
Because
go
you have
through-
2 unique units in the Salamanders
Yeah.
book, you see.
So
I've always been a big fan of Vulcan Hestan,
Shall we do him first then?
just because I like saying his name.
do you want lore?
Vulcan Hestan. Yeah. Does anyone know the narrative for Vulcan Hestan?
So he is basically in charge of
Vulcan
collecting Vulcan's bits and bobs that he's lost throughout the years.
Yes.
Yeah,
Vulcan
so-
being his Primarch.
Yes, Vulcan the Primarch. So Hestan takes Vulcan's name as a sort of
It's a title, not a name.
yes,
yeah.
exactly. Takes his title. So he is more of a sort of so he's a lone huntsman that goes out and tracks down
Oh, nice.
relics.
You could make
so,
a Netflix series about this guy.
You could.
It wouldn't be very good, but you could.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you'd probably end up getting like DB Vase and
His,
who-
Dan.
his weapons would always be just out of range as
Who's
well.
the guy from Billy Elliot? Maybe he should play Vulcan Hestan.
That was an old film.
Yeah, but he's
Have you seen it, Doc?
but he's in that
Billy
TV
Elliot, I
show
watched it at
Turn that's
school.
quite
I've
good.
not.
Yeah.
So-
Have you seen it?
Which one's turned?
It's about like, the American Civil War. I was just saying.
Yeah,
I
I've
think-
seen some of it.
Question
Yeah, I
to
thought it was okay.
everyone in the Twitch chat and watching live: who would you want to play Vulcan Hestan? That's my Idris Elba. Says Scott G.
Ooh.
I forgot he has to be black.
Samuel
Yeah.
L. Jackson.
Lenny Henry.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Yeah, would they be?
Who's the chef?
Should they be?
Who's the chef?
Ainsley Halloran.
Was Ainsley Harry?
I thought you were going to say Guy Fieri.
give your relic a good old rub.
It's all about Guy Fieri. Ainsley Harriott with Guy Fieri's flame shirt.
I've got a signed picture of Ainsley Harriott above my desk.
Have you?
Yeah.
Imagine him.
I'll get it on my show next week.
Imagine him as
Yeah.
Vulcan Hestan.
No.
Okay. Okay, so Vulcan Hestan, it's a cool narrative.
Spicy flames.
Yes.
Yeah,
So what's
boy.
his? Does that mean he's picked up any of Vulcan's relics and
so
he's using them?
He's got a couple of them. Yeah, so he's got Vulcan's spear of Vulcan. To be
Wow.
specific.
Amazing.
Interestingly, though, I never knew Vulcan to use a spear in the Heresy. He used a hammer.
Yeah, wielded a massive hammer. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they
Just
messed
like
that
Ferris Manus.
Maybe that's just the name of his
Dead.
Willie.
That's a good point.
Oh my God! What about Mr. Motivator as Vulcan Hestan, and then check this out: Kevin Hart as comic relief.
Oh, mate.
Robert Downey Jr. reprising his role from Tropic Thunder.
Robert Downey
Oh,
Jr.
amazing.
Big man Tyrone.
Have you seen Tropic Thunder?
Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. in blackface.
Okay. Anyway.
Good grief.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's Vulcan Hestan remains a non-lanky marine.
Okay. Yeah. He hasn't passed the
hasn't-
Rubicon Primaris.
No, not yet.
That's how you say it.
You can't catch him.
Yeah, he's too busy.
He's too busy. I don't
frolicking
know where
around.
he's gone.
It's not that fast. Yeah.
Gotta go fast.
So yes, Spear of Vulcan, and a Gauntlet of the Forge. So a arm-based
A gauntlet.
flame assault weapon. I think his main benefit that he gives out would be re-rolling all hit and wound rolls with flame or melter weapons. So that is neutralising some of the disadvantage of the actual chapter tactic of only re-rolling one, and suddenly you're re-rolling everything. Which
To wound.
Hit and wound with
Which
Flamer
is
and Melter.
Hit and wound.
Within
is the
6
only
inches,
way to
yeah.
get full wound re-rolls in the book.
It's
I
called
believe.
Forge Father.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. For Salamanders only, though, so you can't do it. to
FYI, there are 9 things that Vulcan crafted and hid around the galaxy, and supposedly when they were all recovered, he returned. But 2 of them are macro-scale infrastructure emplacements on or above Nocturne.
What?
Like, so just
Big macro scale
Big
means
things.
big,
large.
yeah, large, big things above Nocturne.
He built satellites.
Okay.
Yeah,
One was for Wi-Fi,
Okay.
and the other was for
Weather?
mobile signal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
so
No, different ones.
different.
You have to have them dedicated. So if one goes down, you got the other one.
Wait, 5G.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so rerolls to wound useful in the game.
Yeah, that's for sure. If you can get your flamers, your 8-inch range flamers anywhere
if
near
anyone would like
anything.
any more tactical insights, just drop me a message.
Banging some dudes in a Land Raider would be good.
Yeah,
What sort of
Land
dudes?
Raider
then-
Redeemer.
Yeah. 'cause
No.
Then you're getting
All
them,
about
you're getting
those.
them closer rather. You're not having to deep strike or foot strike
Yeah.
across the board.
So wait, what's a redeemer have?
Massive
Flamers.
Two
flamers
big
on it.
flamers.
What? How many? What's their APs?
2?
Yeah, I think so. Heavy.
2d6.
So,
2d6 on
I
each
have
flamer?
misgivings with this plan because a Land Raider is generally what you put in a list to make a list shittier. Because they're really expensive.
Excuse me.
Outrageous.
Narratively, you're right.
Are we still on the narratively and also?
But also
Tactically.
figuratively, probably shouldn't do that either.
I mean, you can give it toughness 9, which we'll come on to later.
I
I mean, and also you could put Dorado in there. It's got a 5
yeah,
vulnerable
minus
save.
1 to hit. I think you can even make it toughness.
You can
10.
give it a 6+ feel no pain
Excuse
too.
me, ladies and gentlemen. We've just made
Yeah.
a fucking gangster.
Land Raider that does nothing apart
Yeah.
from not
Could you
die.
lower it?
As a quick summary, while we're talking,
Could
about
you
these
lower
things.
it and then play some hip hop beats out of it?
Until you hit a speed bump and
think you
the
can lower
fuel
a
tank
Land Raider.
bashes on the.
No,
It's
you
already
can't.
pretty low.
Yeah, they are pretty low.
Hydraulics, maybe.
I don't think you can lower them.
If only its
Yeah.
points cost was low.
Oh,
We could have it.
cuts.
Okay.
So we talk about Land Raiders in a bit. I think,
No.
I think they're strong.
okay.
Fine.
you
we
can
can
make
have that
those
debate.
giant super flamers into pistols, so you wouldn't want to wrap and trap one.
Why would you be? How are you ever wrapping and trapping a Land Raider?
don't
It's got
really know.
huge.
Well,
It's like the size of a shoe.
Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, big boys with big butt fellas.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That'll do
They,
it.
they don't really get around the main downfalls of Land Raiders, but
Yeah, like being expensive
But-
and doing
but you
nothing.
can put Flamer Centurions in one and pray
Yeah,
that
there
it,
you go.
pray that
They've
it
got the
gets
biggest
across.
capacity, haven't they?
Not as
Oh,
much as the
Crusader.
Crusader,
Oh, yeah,
no.
Right.
Crusader's bigger, yeah.
Also, a lot of you are forgetting that also I forgot his name,
His.
but the giant super tank that you're able to take.
Crassus Armored Assault Transport.
No, but that's
Is it a
right.
vintage one?
Spartan.
Just- no,
Mastodon?
above the Mastodon is also covered in. Is also
Is it?
covered in
They're covered in
flamers, and
flamers.
its front weapon is also like a 3D3 melter shot. I'll go find out.
Can I just double check?
You guys,
That sounds like
you guys continue
Rob,
talking.
the ultimate
I'll
point
go-
Just
Six
a second, guys.
Salamanders.
Is that Forge World bollocks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
30K.
Right, so I know nothing about
no,
it.
hold on.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
worry. I'm going to go find out its rules. but you guys
ETC deeply unfriendly model.
you
that.
guys,
Yeah, I don't
you
know
guys
anything about
continue
that.
Talking. I'll find out its rules.
He does also get reroll ones to hit for everything within 6 inches.
Yeah, so
So
he is.
he's basically a captain.
Yeah, he's basically a captain. Other than that, I think he's a bit underwhelming in combat.
So when I'm talking about characters, I normally put them into one of two categories, either an active character or a passive character. And what I mean by that is active characters are things that kind of go off and do their own thing, and they have desirable qualities like good movement, hitting power, and durability. So they can fly across the board and just whack something in the head really hard. And then, so a good example of that is like Smash Captains, which kind of are very independent units. I mean, you often use CP and stratagems for them, but they still go off and do their own thing. They don't need other units to make them work. And then the other type of character is a passive character, which are generally utility pieces, and they stand safely like within proximity of other units, and their purpose is entirely to improve those units, and they have qualities like good passive effects like buffs and debuffs, and like durability to snipers. So when I look at Vulcan, he's not really an active character because you can't really send him off and do his own thing. He is strength 8 in melee because he gets +2 to his strength for his Anvil of Strength Warlord trait, and then his weapon is +2 strength -2
If you
AP for
take him
damage free.
as a warlord, that is
Yeah.
that is what you
So
get.
he does. It's not like he doesn't hit hard, but he is quite slow, and he doesn't
Yep.
really get anywhere. And he's not actually that durable. He's got a 2+ armor save and a 3+ invulnerable save. But the problem he has is he's only got 5 wounds. So what that means is he is a little bit easier to pick out with the snipers just because of that. But also, I don't actually really rate his buffs actually that much, because if you look at reroll to win with flame and melter weapons, yeah, if you get him to do that, that's fantastic. And for his points, it's really, really good. The problem is still the range. And the only way you're improving that range is by taking a successor chapter, which means you now can't even take Vulcan in the first place.
Yep.
So
cancels himself
what you
out.
end up having to do is walking up the board in all this stuff, which is why, I mean, talking about the Land Raider is fine,
Yeah.
because what you're
Not
talking
walking
about
the Land
there is
Raider.
finding a way to walk up the board into the
He's
center of the board
driving.
and just stand like in the center of the board.
Yeah.
And just be annoying. You also want to be firing Overwatch, which means you kind of have to be semi in the open so you can see the things you're shooting at. But if you're semi in the open, you're also going to be getting shot back. So I'm not entirely sure where Vulcan fits into a list. He's decent countercharge, but I don't think countercharge by itself justifies his points cost. Maybe you could, if you're taking a captain and you want really good countercharge on top of it, then you can think about Vulcan. But he's still only got 4 attacks, although those attacks do hit quite hard. I'm not massively convinced.
I think that's a fair point. I think it's quite a tricky one to break down the Salamanders book into constituents when it feels like the whole book is almost gearing up to make you take everything to get flamers across the board.
Yeah.
Like, there's quite a lot of survivability buffs that we've talked about, like
Yeah.
getting a Land Raider to
Yeah.
toughness 10 and -1 to hit and -1 to charge and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's almost a build where you just walk flamers across a board for 4 turns
And get shot while you're doing it,
and you
yeah.
use stratagems to make
Yeah.
them untargetable or something,
just-
or you put
yeah.
them all in transports, or you just ignore flamers altogether and just try
This
and
is
build
the thing.
around.
So just because I think, like, narrative-wise, it's built towards those flamer type units, doesn't mean I think it's necessarily even the best way to build it. Because I think and that doesn't mean that I think it's weak either. Because I think there are lots of different things you can do with a book without necessarily even revolved around what they're meant to revolve
Yeah,
around.
for sure.
What do you think?
Sorry, I was just.
He was away.
I was distracted by his points cost. I was thinking he's 130 points, but when
Yeah.
they released like the Iron Father, he was 110 points and did way more. And did way more.
You're just trying to get upset.
No, I'm just like he did way more for an army than what Vulcan seems to do.
Because he's got a big weapon, so you think, damn.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
if you do want to take the Mastodon, it is going to rock you 1,000 points of your list.
So you could take 2.
What's its transport capacity? Can it take
40.
Centurion?
So its transport capacity, as Nico says, is 40. Yeah, which is pretty interesting. It is all eggs, one basket. It's got 2 heavy flamers. It's got 2 las cannons. It's got a Sky Reaper battery, but it's also got, and this is really important,
You said it was covered in flamers.
it's got 2 heavy flamers, so that's pretty good.
heavy
But it's also got the Siege Melter Array,
So
Like it.
right? So it's 12 inches, but obviously it moves pretty fast. It moves 10
D3
inches.
shots or something?
4d3.
43 shots.
4d3 strength 9 and -4 d6 damage. 4d3 melters.
You
So-
could use a stratagem to max that out to 12.
you say
hits.
that.
And you're
Top
rolling
shot.
all the
well,
hits and wounds.
you
with
say
him.
that.
and
That's not very
Rolling
and
all the
it's
hits and wounds.
already toughness 9,
Yeah.
so you can make it toughness 10.
Yeah, -1 to hit.
-1 to hit.
Minus
It's
one
got a
to-
2
Six
up,
up field
and it has
pain.
a 2 up armor save, and it's got this weird janky thing called a void shield. But ignore that; it's rubbish. And it's got some other things: steel behemoth, void,
Void shield
shields.
used to be really good.
Yeah.
Vulcan, he's rerolling all his hits and wounds.
Yeah, because
So-
throws 13 centurions and a captain in there.
So
There
here's,
you go.
here's what I think you do. You say, is it heavy support or super heavy?
It's a
auxiliary?
super. It's a yes.
Super heavy. So
Yeah,
you
Lord
take-
of War.
So
And
you
it's
take
a relic.
It's a relic.
So you need to take another relic. You need to take
no.
another Lord of War choice.
Do you mean Braearth Ashmantle? Is he a relic?
No, well, what I was
No.
going to say was you take 2 super heavy auxiliary detachments, take 2 of those in a 2,000 point list, and now it's 2 Mastodons, 1 CP.
Let's go.
Spartan.
You can't. It's relics.
That-
So
It's a relic
you,
unit. You
You'd
can't
have to
do
take
it.
an Astraeus. Is there any other super heavies that aren't Gilliman?
That sounds 4-12 bollocks to
Lord of
me.
Wars.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't think it's that viable. But I love it.
cool, though.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Can you not take it in an auxiliary detachment?
I
No, I think you can only take relics in a. Let's say it's 412.
I know you can only take one of them anyway.
But yeah,
Like,
one, and you
I
have
was
in the,
thinking, oh,
you have to
just
have
take
in the
two.
same
I just-
detachment a non-relic version. Of
I
the
just
same
knew when
slot.
I just knew where there was an example of a crazy melter, and also is not the Mechanicus drill.
The Terax assault drill.
Yeah, that is also covered in melters, and
Is
also
it a super heavy
So
though?
don't look at Tom because he's.
no, it's a
It's a
dedicated
4-12 unit.
transport.
I have no idea what
Is
you're talking
it-
about.
Is it the
Not really.
hold on, the termite assault, the Terex pattern assault drill, yeah, which you can take in a Space Marines army, and it will also become, and it's got a melter cutter.
That counts.
That
Although
counts.
It's not going to be Salamanders.
Got them.
Is it? So-
Why is it not?
Is it not?
Oh,
Does
why?
it get the keyword?
Does it get
Or
chapter
is it just-
keyword?
Is it just?
Uh,
I don't know.
abilities. Yeah, vehicle chapter.
Oh, cool. There you go.
Right. So then, and that's got
Broken.
its melter cutter, which is 12 inches. Assault D3. Same thing
So you
as
can
a.
max that out for 2 CP
For 3 hits.
3 hits.
But it's only 134 points. I'm just showing you some other examples. of melters.
Thunderhawk's the other option. Thank
Or
you.
a Thunderhawk got one flamer on it.
Yeah, but it has a flamer on
You
it.
need to unlock the Mastodon with the Thunderhawk.
No, they changed the relic rules. They changed the relic rules. No one understands it. Basically, you can
They
kind of
changed
take
it?
it. Yeah,
Oh.
years ago. But then everyone was like, they wrote the relic stuff, and everyone was like, oh, what? And then no one took it.
We'll have to check that one.
Yeah, we'll
I say
double
we,
check
I mean
it.
you guys, because I give no shits.
But you do have to have two non-relic Lord of Wars for
That's
two
what I
relic
thought.
Lord of Wars.
Yeah, you have to have a non-relic version of the same slot in the
Us-
same detachment.
No, Scorpiuses aren't.
I don't think so. No.
No, release.
Worth trying.
But anyway,
Right. Anyway, that's
Sorry
We should
to
probably
derail
talk
the
about
chat, but I
Adrax
just-
Agathon.
Don't you
who
wanna
sounds
do-
like a wash?
don't you want to do 12 D3 melter shots automatically?
I would rather take a Leviathan Dread if we're going to talk relics with 2 of those cyclonic
Oh, yeah,
melter
melter
lances
lances,
with
yeah.
was that 2d3 each? So 4
so.
4d3 melter shots and
Yeah.
Which are max. So four.
yeah,
so
and you
40
can actually get him somewhere because you can put him in a drop pod and definitely not spend all.
Can
your
you put him in a
points.
Storm Raven as well, because they're Dreadnought?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, and now Storm Raven can have a multi melter on it, a
Bang.
twin multi melter. It's the future.
Let's just do that. Let's just melt at everything.
Apologies, podcast listeners.
possible to solve a codex. We've solved the
I
codex.
think we've solved it. We've solved it. Anyway, so you just keep shouting what words.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. So, Agrax Earthshade.
Agrax. Yeah, the other. Yeah. He sounds
No.
like a wash.
No, who? Adrax Agaton.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sounds like a cross between.
Best model in all of 40k?
Okay.
I
Question
would-
mark.
I think he is the nicest looking Space Marine infantry model.
mean-
There's a way to narrow it down to.
How are we defining in 40k here?
Well, he's just done that.
in the
As in
future.
GW made models.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, why? What do
What
you?
do you
Inter-
think in those
interesting.
rogue
What's your-
trader marines that hold the bolters like that?
I'm
Yes.
surprised you didn't just say everything from Mordheim.
Yeah.
Future more time.
The Mordheim vampire, no, the necromancer who's just holding a skull like that.
I gotta say the greatest design that's coming at the minute has got to be from Necromunda. Those models are just.
Those are really cool. People are using them as cultists for chaos.
Yeah, why wouldn't you like use them for
Yeah,
everything?
There's new corn ones, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
They look cool.
Actually, I don't think he is the nicest model in 40k.
Do you guys want to get into
I don't think.
Necromunda with me and all just play and do a gang and then we'll just film back reps of us
you
doing
learn the rules?
Necromunda? What?
Can you learn the rules and tell me?
Deal. If I learn the rules, will we
Yeah.
all play Necromunda in hilarious back
It sounds
reps
like a skirmish game.
where we just shout at each other? It is a skirmish game, but you make up stories.
We will need a Kickstarter.
We need to do that D&D game.
But
That
this is like
D&D
that.
game?
But
No,
this
we
is
had-
like-
we had the,
but this is
um,
like that, but with models.
You
Damn
said
it,
it,
I
you
just
said it
want-
as if you just heard of
We had
D&D.
characters for the
Just
Gene
really
Stealer
want a
Cult
reason to
Hive.
play
Didn't
Necromunda
we?
with my friends.
We can do that.
Do it.
Up for
I don't
it.
think any of you want to play.
No.
Just a bunch of dicks.
Fine, be like that then.
Please continue.
Um,
Adrax Agatone, best model ever.
yeah.
Brilliant.
I'm painting one at the moment.
So
What's his
what's
law?
his rules?
What's his
he about?
law?
Yeah, what's his law?
Oh, so he
nice,
he's from the books. He's in the Black Library books, which I've heard are great.
No, for 40k ones, no. Unless it's the
Oh, my
Primarchs.
No,
Things that we like from Black Library. Horror, the Age of Sigmar range, the Primarch,
Primarch
range.
series.
Everything
Why,
else.
and why do we like those?
Great question.
The rest you can just use your photographic memory on.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, so he's moving on. He's the third company captain of the Salamanders. Got the Primaris treatment.
Nice.
He got
There are
the
6 companies,
the
right?
Enlankening, as it is named.
Like it.
There are 7 companies
Oh, we'd only had 6 in the book.
in the which.
Do you know why it's called
The
the, Primaris
Codex.
Rubicon? The Rubicon Primaris?
Why?
Because of the drink.
No. Does no one know?
No?
Because crossing the Rubicon in Roman times was the signal that you'd entered Rome, and the military were never
My memory's missing a page.
the military were never allowed to cross into Rome, cross the
You weren't
Rubicon.
allowed armed, yeah.
But there was
Oh,
there was a very famous moment where Caesar
Caesar
did.
came back from Gaul.
Yeah, Caesar crossed the Rubicon, and then all the senators were there insulting him, and were like, "You can't do this, you can't cross here." And then Caesar did my favorite quote from all of history. It's like, "Who are you to quote laws to me? We who carry swords." There you go. Yeah, so it's talking about military might over the law of the land. I think that's what I imagine Kids Workshop just like the name, but anyway.
Also, it looks like the chat has allowed our Mastodon idea back in again.
Oh, right.
Well, they can work it out.
Most people, Robin's great fun. The FAQ allows you to have a Relic Lord of War, even though you don't have a non-Relic Lord of War. Thank you, Sergeant Rolf. I knew.
Nice.
Can you take it in a super,
Back in the
super heavy auxiliary detachment?
We can.
Yeah.
So you can take 2,
Yep.
and they'll cost you a CP each one, so you'll have 1 CP left. So 2
Put
Mastodons, 1
two
CP.
green boys.
2 Mastodons, 1 CP.
Yeah.
Yeah, 600
Trying to
quid of
minimise
loss.
the CP.
Yeah.
You've got less to worry about that way.
Yeah, you don't
Also,
have
you
to spend
got-
any CP.
Do you know it's Sky Reaper? Like also fear it, Eldar. Look, I know we're not
just
talking
burn
about,
the
be
planes
talking
out the
about-
sky.
I know we're not meant to
Yeah.
be talking about.
The best weapon for killing planes.
Yeah,
a
but no,
flamethrower.
Sorry, its Sky Reaper battery is heavy 8,
Okay.
strength 7, -1, damage 5.
Damage 5.
So you need to get free through.
Yeah, add 1 to
Outrageous.
hit rolls made for this weapon against targets that can fly.
So you'd be hitting on 4s.
Well, its ballistic skill is 3.
Yeah. So -2 plus 1.
Yeah, and then you can just re-roll them, and then
4
plus 1.
hits, freeze to wound.
Yeah, and then
4 up
damage
saves.
5.
So 2 of them firing that at planes will kill 1 plane.
But apparently you can only have one.
Oh, this is so boring now. But
Yeah.
okay, let's
They're
continue.
just killing all the fun. There.
Sorry.
Right, Adrax Agatone. Add 1 to root wound rolls for melee weapons. Oh, so he again. I think he is another
So
buffing.
it is.
fella.
He is one of these other passive ones, but it's also there's quite a few qualifiers for this. So you have to be salamanders, you have to be within 6
Yeah.
inches, and you have to charge, have been charged, or performed a heroic intervention. So if you were heroically intervened on, you don't get it, but every other time you do.
But can you ever attack something that when they've heroically intervened into you?
Yes. So if you're just stood there
Yeah.
minding your own business,
Oh yeah, so, yeah.
so just go no,
Yep.
straight in. So
Um,
yeah.
So yeah, he does hit pretty hard, to be fair, in combat. So with including that +1 to wound, he has got a strength 8 giant hammer.
It's basically a power fist with damage 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 5 attacks.
But it's the coolest looking. It's the first Primaris power hammer, thunder hammer that we've seen, and it's
Yeah.
gangster.
It's like round-headed
Ooh,
beast.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
it
so
does look cool.
powerful.
It does look cool. So yeah, he's quite durable as well actually. So he's got a 4+ invulnerable save from his Iron Halo,
Good.
2+ armor, 6 wounds, and he also has -1 damage to a minimum of 1.
Wow, that's quite good.
That's all right if he's going to like kick a knight. It's just like
I think I'd rather have the 3 vulnerable save
Then the
than
minus
the
one.
-1 damage.
And the extra wound.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. So how do we rate him?
Depends.
Oh, he also gets.
depends
So
on
if you take
snipers.
him as your warlord, you also get the reroll number of shots with flamers warlord trait
Within 6 inches,
within
not
6
just for him.
inches. So he sort of synergizes if you're going to go for a character heavy build with loads of flamers with Vulcan Hestan as well.
Well, so what you could do is you could take him, use him as your warlord, and then he gives you the rerolls, and then you take Vulcan and you stick him right next to him,
Yep.
and now you're also rerolling the hit and wound rolls.
So you reroll on the number of.
You're rerolling
rerolling
everything,
everything,
Rob.
yeah.
Just rerolling everything.
literally
yeah.
just walk them forward and then die
Yeah.
in the midfield and never
Yeah.
actually get there.
This is
But
my
the
intention.
but the concept that one day, can't you just drop on them all in?
We just have to play against a melee army with no shooting. And you just
That'll
let them
do it.
walk over to you and then die.
Sounds like Plague Bearers.
Easy, it's Warhammer, no problem.
That's,
Just
that's what
sorted.
it does well into.
Sorted.
He does have rights of battle as well, so he gets reroll 1s to hit for everyone within 6 inches. And he also has a 12-inch flamer.
Wow.
Which is AP -1.
And if we can take him in a successor chapter.
No.
Oh.
So he will be out of range.
No. Okay, but 12 inch is still fine.
Yeah, no, that's actually
Yeah,
pretty.
12
decent.
inches is plenty.
Okay. All right.
I think that's it for characters.
Here's
though,
a
isn't it?
question:
Oh,
Can you make a named character a chapter master if they've got the captain keyword?
Good question. Don't know.
I don't know the answer
Have a
to
check.
that. But
That is a good question.
I didn't
he
think
could have got
but double check
upgraded
it.
in the
On the spot promotion.
Yep.
You're a chapter
on
master
the
now,
spot
son.
FAQ.
Yeah.
He's also 140 points, so he's 10 more points than Vulcan.
I feel like he
But he's way more
Earns
points
that.
than Ferios.
He is way more points than Farius.
What is-
he?
So it makes no sense.
He's not
How's
really-
Ferios so much better?
He's another one of these that's kind of like countercharged with kind of force multiplier effects.
cute though,
so,
isn't
yeah,
He's
bless,
also got
bless
a
him, he's
gangster
trying.
hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Sweet. So then, what's next?
Warlord traits.
yeah.
Cool. So which ones did you like here? Guys?
There's a few that can be a bit fun. I think. I think a lot of people are looking at ways to make the toughest ever character, which I think you might have an opinion on.
I don't
What
know.
you can
Tom,
make the
have an
toughest
opinion.
character
I
ever.
know. How dare I?
What?
I don't have opinions. I have
there's
facts.
so that
I want this.
So it's hard to talk about it without thinking about the stratagems as well. But there's
Okay,
a way.
just-
There's a +2 toughness warlord trait, which is quite fun.
+2.
I did
So-
I did miss this. Which
Plus
one? What's it
two.
called?
Forge Master.
Okay. I'll
So
look at
if you're looking at your bike captain or your Gravis captains that have already got a decent toughness, you're taking
Toughness
it up
5.
to 7, which is nice. And if there was a character dreadnought, like a Salamanders named one that was toughness 8,
Brayoff Ashmantle.
Big Bray.
But
Yeah.
he's already toughness 9.
is he toughness 9?
Yeah, he starts at toughness 9.
So he can't
Silly.
be a warlord, but you can spend a CP, get an extra character to have a warlord trait, and you can buff him up to 11.
Wow.
Toughness 11 Dreadnought.
And then with so if you had 2 librarians, because I don't think you could mix them. Again, I don't know. I don't think you can mix and match the disciplines, but there's a +1 toughness in both the Space Marine and
Oh, Might of Heroes.
Might of Heroes and
So this one,
Drake
the one,
skin.
so we can do the Promethean discipline very quickly because
Yep.
I don't think there's too much in it. So in the Promethean discipline,
Rude.
yeah, it's a bit shit. So the first one that we were talking about there is called Drake Skin. It's a
Yep.
warp charge, 6 power with 12-inch range, and you target a friendly unit, and you give +1 toughness to that unit until
He's
the
now
next
plus
second phase.
toughness 12.
toughness at this stage. 12.
Yeah, you can also give him Fire Shield,
Yes, I
which
don't want that.
is a yes, very good. Is a warp charge 6 power with an 18-inch range this time. So again, you target a friendly unit. That unit is -1 to hit from range weapons, and enemy unit is trying to charge it suffer -1 to charge. Not that I think you'd be sticking out on him too much, but because you kind of want people to charge your toughness 12 dreadnought, but covered in
Yep.
flamers.
He hits pretty hard.
Are you telling me I can have a toughness 12 Dreadnought that's -1 to hit?
Yeah, and -1 to charge.
A -1 to charge.
Yeah.
And then if I somehow... But I can't get Might of Heroes in there.
You could, if you had a second librarian,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure on the specifics, but there are ways of. There is a relic that allows a librarian to have an extra power that
True.
you can know. I don't know whether that is limited.
So that's called the Tome of Velcona, and it is only for Promethean discipline, so you can't get anything from any other tree.
Unless he, because
So
I think once you've selected your librarian to have the
Yeah.
Promethean discipline, he's limited with his third power.
Yeah.
Would also have to come from the same.
You could take a librarian from another chapter by taking a different detachment, but by doing that, you'd then lose
Well,
the.
you could just take another Salamanders librarian and just opt for the
Can
generic.
you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Okay,
can.
there you go. Easy, no problem. Easy.
So you-
I was
yeah,
going to
with-
say you'd lose your doctrine
With
if you
the
do the
easy
former.
low
Yeah.
cost, because when you've taken Brayoth, your points don't even matter anymore anyway, do they? So you might as well take 2 librarians, get toughness 13, -1 to hit.
And a Mastodon at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, put him in a Mastodon.
No, why are you laughing with me? I love the idea
I
of
think
a
you should just put him in a
toughness
Storm
13
Raven
Dreadnought.
and launch him into the enemy.
I like
army.
that. I like that idea.
Yeah.
That'd be a good plan.
think
Yeah,
you-
Storm Raven's cool.
Yeah,
idea.
put him with your
Drop
two,
him off.
your 2 Leviathans with melters for no
Yeah.
reason, and just
Yeah.
So combined with that, you've got the generic Space Marine stratagem for half damage on dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
So any damage he does take is all halved. He's got a 2 up.
You can make him really nails.
It's 2 up save.
I believe
4
so,
up
yeah.
invulnerable.
I haven't- we
5
haven't-
up feel no
You
We
could
did
just-
a
you could just
rundown on
play
it?
your-
DPR.
you could just play your own mission at a tournament. You could be like,
Kill Braille.
yeah, I just be like, he's going to survive every single game. That's all I care about.
I don't think anyone's going to shoot him.
What if you walk him at the enemy army and say,
pretty
do
scary.
it? Do it.
I mean, yeah, but you can't do anything to him.
I'll find out his rules while we continue on.
Yeah.
we did do a
There are a
rundown. So
lot
if you
of
search
them.
Honest Wargamer Braille Ashmantle, you'll get a rundown.
We did do a
Honest
rundown.
wargame,
on
you
them,
say.
yeah. I've heard of those.
Yes, so that's what. So yeah, we
Yeah.
go back to warlord traits again.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Just a side note about special characters, you can't make them chapter masters.
Oh,
you
nice.
go. There you
Good
go.
work,
So
Good
Nikos.
to know. Good to
Can't
know.
make
Good,
can't
good.
do name characters.
Yeah. So I've picked out 3 of my favourite ones.
Warlord traits.
Yep, Warlord traits. So I did like Miraculous Constitution because when I was talking about passive characters earlier, one of the criteria for it was durable to sniper fire. And this one is actually very effective at doing that. So what it does is it gives your Warlord a 6+ DPR. So ignore wounds and a 6+. But it also, the main part of this is it allows you to regain a wound at the start of your movement phase. So if you've got, like, let's say, 1 squad of 5 snipers, and maybe you do 1 wound and 1 mortal wound, right? You've only got a chance of a wound not going through because you've got a save. The mortal wound, you've got a 6+ ignore, but even then, if that goes through, you're just going to regen it anyway, so it makes it very, very difficult for you to remove these kind of passive support characters. If you are against heavy sniper fire, for example, an Eldar army that has a battalion in it, and you're opting for 3 squads of Rangers rather than Storm Guardians, that's a bit more of a problem because they can chip away so many wounds. Same with people who are running Vindicare Assassins because they, again, take off too many wounds. You just can't keep
Or
up.
potentially things like Iron Hands with loads of Stalker bolt rifles if they're not too
Yeah.
worried about spending 3 CP on
Right, exactly.
making them all snipers.
Yeah, and if your character is that important for you that you're going to take this Warlord trait for it, then you're probably going to be doing that as well. So the only reason I included that was because it fits quite well into the criteria I was talking about earlier. The second one I've picked is Lord of Fire. So we've already spoken about that one. That is,
Cool,
you get
cool
to
name.
re-roll the number of shots for flame weapons within 6 inches. That's the one that Agrax Earthshade or whatever his name is.
Adrax Agatone.
That guy.
How dare
Got
you.
it. You've got this like committed to memory. I like it. And then the final one that I actually really, really like is called Never Give Up. And at the start of the battle round, you can give...
Never surrender.
Royal Never Give Up. At the start of the battle round, give a Salamanders unit within 6 inches the Defender of Humanity rule until the end of the battle round. And that is effectively objective secured. So effectively, you override other units for the purposes of securing objectives. So you can even give it to yourself as well.
Give it to your Mastodon.
You can give it to your Mastodon.
Give
Make
what
it-
to your Mastodon?
Objective secured.
Make him a troop.
Yeah. Or like a heavy support unit or whatever.
Yeah,
By the way,
exactly.
Braille Ashman is a movement 6, and he hits on 2s, wounds on 2s, and he's got a heavy D6 flamer, which
Doesn't
is
matter
8
if he's
inches.
in a plane.
Yeah. But then in combat, he is obviously, as we said, toughness 9 with 8 wounds with a top save.
Yeah.
I think he has an invulnerable save. He
do.
has.
Pretty sure he does.
He has a 5+ invulnerable save.
Still an invulnerable save.
Yeah, on a 4+ damage. No, in addition, roll D6 each time this model loses a wound. On a 4+, the damage is ignored.
4+
Oh,
DPR.
okay, that's
Half
pretty
the
good.
damage as well.
Half damage, ignore damage on 4, so it's like 25% damage.
For a
I don't think he
anyway.
needs to be toughness 12.
Yeah, but it'll be funny. You can make a difference.
He is 400 points.
Yeah, but he's cool.
He is so cool. Yeah,
What
but
slot is he in?
he's got 4
HQ,
attacks. No,
isn't
he's a HQ.
Oh, he's an HQ.
He's got 4 attacks in close combat with
Your
his,
entire army is the slot he takes.
and he's strength 8.
There you go.
So
I don't
yeah.
think the strength is important, just for toughness value.
He's also got a Burning Wrath pistol. Heavy pistol is 2d6. It's a flamer.
Yeah, so you can just burn people off you when they're in combat with you. You
Yeah.
can't tie him up. He's just going to keep
Also-
going.
There's also strength 4.
It doesn't matter. Just kill him. Reroll to
Anyway,
wound with
just thought I'd let you
doing
know.
it behind him.
Let you know
He is fantastic.
He's
So,
fantastic.
did you pick out
Would
any
you-
more Warlord traits?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Sorry, sorry, Rob.
Sorry.
Straight gun across you, mate.
So the basic one, or the one that was in the Space Marine Codex as well, the +2 to strength could be nice for things like Salamander Smash Captains, which I think are
Yeah,
Especially with. Oh, no.
here's my issue with Smash Captains. If you're going to take Smash Captains, you're probably going to take Blood Angels. Maybe if you're taking like a pure Salamander's army, then
So I think
That's fine.
from the perspective of taking a pure.
But
army
it depends on which mission pack you're playing. If you're playing Games of Workshop missions, I don't think you do that because in that case, the single point from losing your Warlord is actually very valuable because a lot of them are quite low scoring missions. So you
Yeah.
don't want to give your Warlord.
Is it
like,
worth it as the
make your Warlord something
an
that's going to go off and die?
an extra character with the trait? Do you think?
Sure, you could do
Maybe.
that. Sure, you could do that.
And then save your Warlord
Yeah,
for
as
one
long
of
as
the,
it's not your actual Warlord in one of his low scoring missions, I think that's
Yeah.
imperative.
So Salamanders and Hammers go quite well together. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a certain validity to it.
Agreed.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Sure.
that's the only other one. That
Shall we
jumps out
move
at
on
me.
to? Shall we just finish up the relics quickly before moving on to stratagems? Because I think the stratagems is where the main
Yep.
meat of this book really is. So I did have one more relic. We were obviously talking about the Tome of Velcona earlier, which is you get an extra psychic power and you get +1 to your psychic
Yeah.
cast as well.
So all the Salamanders powers I think go off
Yeah.
on 5s at that point.
And if you can you psychic hood for another +1. Or
Yeah.
is-
Well, that's to deny.
Deny.
Yeah.
So the other one I had listed was called the Obsidian Aquila, which is all chapter models within 6 inches of this model get a 6+ DPR.
Oh, not bad.
So you can give a
Good.
big bubble and just walk up the border.
Small Iron Hands bubble.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's
not too bad.
That makes our walking and shooting flamer army a bit better.
It does.
Just
It-
16% better.
not much better, but it'll do.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So that's pretty
You
much.
see
it for
anything else in the
relics.
wargear that you like?
Yeah, so I think the fun one, Drake Smiter, which is a super Thunderhammer, which on a 6 would do 9 damage.
Wow.
Nice.
I think.
Kind of funny.
Triple damage or something.
I think there's a way to get it to 9.
Give that to a Smash Captain.
So 9 damage per wound that goes through if you roll a
Slap.
I
6
can't
to
remember how I
wound.
got to that.
Wow.
Might be 6.
Okay.
But still, 6 still isn't
Yeah,
bad.
I
I
feel
think
like
it's
there's
6
another way
damage.
to.
6 is still good though.
But yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
juicy. But yeah, 6 damage. So yeah, on a 6, add 3 to the damage characteristic, and it is damage 3.
Also,
as
it's
you'd
called
expect.
Drake Smiter.
Yeah,
Who doesn't
that's,
want
I
to take
think,
that?
The main reason. to
Yeah,
take it.
smoteth thee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 damage.
I think there's a way to get more damage out of it, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Someone in chat, go and have a peek around, see what you can find.
Because there were people talking about getting damage 12 out of it somehow, but I think that was wrong. They were doing the bod mass in the wrong order or something.
Classic.
Big brain.
Yeah, a niche one, but if you're going to go all flamers, which is an interesting way to go.
I am.
Mastercrafted weapon, which you can put on a sergeant, you can put on your aggressor sergeant, give him damage.
There's
2.
one you can give to Reaver Sergeant.
damage
as well,
2?
right?
Yeah.
On his flamers.
So yeah, you can get sort of 24 hits, and half of those are going to wound and do mortal wounds, and then
And do
hopefully
+1 to
anything
wound.
+1 or 2 to wound, and then you get that as well, reroll and everything. So
And doing damage
if,
too.
If you get everything within 8 inches of your enemy, you're doing all the damage. And how hard can that be?
That's easy.
Easy mode.
Easy. How far do your...
How big is a 6x4?
What? Exactly.
Yeah.
If I walk there, eventually I'll get there. I just run them turn 1.
I think I'm just going to go for this now. I think the only way that you run flamers in this list is if you take a successor chapter with the extra range and do drop pods.
The only way you run a successive chapter, a flamer list in this list is if you stop being such a coward.
Yeah, and take drop pods and drop straight in your opponent's face
Yeah.
turn 1.
No, Land
yeah.
Raiders, man. Land Raiders and...
What, you mean
and,
hiding in those metal boxes? That's being a
Yeah.
coward. The definition of being
Well,
a
if you're playing
coward.
in IC, you can just hide in all them little
Magic
magical
boxes.
And you're sorted.
Yeah, there you go.
Apart from the Thunderfire cannons, they're an issue.
And the whirlwinds.
And the world.
And the Dark Reapers.
And those Tyranids that don't need to see.
and then
Hive
there's-
card.
And then there's no AdMech
Yeah,
floaty
new
tanks.
Admech Scorpius things.
Apart from that,
I'm a Knights of the
Apart
Top
from that,
Guns.
what have the
That's
Romans
finished.
ever done for us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rubicon! Is that the right one?
Damn it!
I wasn't listening. Yeah,
Cool, so shall we move on to the stratagems?
let's do that. That's the fun
Please,
bit.
please, and thank you.
This is the bedrock of the book. So I've got 7 listed here.
Only
It's,
7.
I've only got 7 listed.
Have you
Really?
started with Vengeance for Istvan 5?
No, I
Which is
started at
clearly
the top.
best one.
Yeah,
We're not
it is
gonna go through them all.
I can't even remember what it was. It was so
Oh,
good.
it's like
But you've got to
extra-
explain it now. You can't just leave it hanging like that.
right. Reroll hit rolls against Word Bearers, Iron Warriors, Night Lords, or Alpha Legion.
Nice.
Niche.
Nice.
Yeah.
What if you take a successor chapter
You still get that?
of Iron Warriors or Word Bearers or Alpha
Oh,
Legion?
there's no such thing because there's no chapters.
So sad.
Aha!
Poor
There
Jim.
you go.
Right.
I think
So the first one I had listed was Flamecraft.
yes.
And this one actually really made me laugh. It's 2 CP.
Well, it's the first one, so
Yeah,
it's
it's very
logical that you
yeah,
list
he was
it
laughing
first.
all the way
Yeah.
through the stratagems.
So you pick a unit in your shooting phase, and that unit doesn't even have to roll to see how many shots its flamers get. You just pick the highest number,
Maximum.
maximum shots.
Maximum. The issue, though, as stated, we have to get the flamers to the place.
You do, but when you get the flamers to the place,
So we've got the bomb.
the what?
We've got the bomb. We just have to get it to the location.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we don't have a delivery system.
The
Yeah.
fuse is
And-
going down.
And the fuse is going off.
And you have 5 counter terrorists like blocking off the different entrances.
Yeah, and also there's an Iron Hands army shooting us.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All that.
exactly how it works. So
But
yeah,
apart from that, great stratagem.
2 CP.
put it on
yeah.
a mastodon.
Huh?
Put it on a mastodon. You'd be
So I
alright.
was thinking earlier that this was on melters or flamers, but it is just flamers.
Maximum number of shots with melters is still the same number of shots.
All the Forge World ones, which you're
Oh, I'm so
not
sorry.
not
I
familiar with, are
No,
all like
yeah.
D3. But
My mistake.
The Cyclone.
also very niche. Oh, Invicta Warsuits. Yes.
True.
So
true.
2d6 becomes 12.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're dead turn 2. But if they weren't,
But it
the
doesn't
unit
matter,
tactical
'cause you box
doctrine.
people in and burn their chaff.
But Invictus
Yeah.
or
That
War Sheet
works.
is a way to get the flamer there.
Yeah.
Yes. So the only trouble is
Very early.
Sneaky
the,
green
the
fiery
super
things.
doctrine stacks. Well, goes in the tactical doctrine, and your Invicta Warsuits are sort of your turn 1 threat with the flamer.
But more for
option.
just boxing people in.
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
But you're not likely to be able to maximize the flamer. Well, you can't maximize it turn 1, but definitely.
But they
got
are
some
good.
use.
Those
Oh,
Invictus
yeah,
War
yeah.
Suits are good for just pinning people
Yeah,
back
big
turn
fan.
1.
Yeah.
I love them.
And
Good
removing
models.
chaff and shit.
Ridiculous
Yeah.
models.
Not great models.
They're great
but
models. They're
no,
ridiculous.
Disagree strongly.
All right.
Yeah.
They're not Brayoth Ashmont or a teeny tiny model that's toughness 9.
Oh, they'll make him look
Toughness
even more
13, thank
ridiculous
you.
though,
Yeah.
by comparison.
They do look like mini dreadnoughts, don't they? With the baby hammock things.
Who, the Invicta War
Yeah,
Suits?
yeah.
Yeah, they look just really badly done.
I'll definitely
Okay,
have
fine.
3 and regret it.
Cool. So the second one I've got here is Crucible of Battle, which you can find on the right hand side of your page, I think.
It's the
Left.
second one down. It's the second stratagem. You're counting them off as if you've like picked them out, but really you're just reading them in order.
Yeah, the Crucible of
And
Battle.
I agree.
Which
There-
means, guys, there are only 7 stratagems in this book.
What's this
The
do?
second one is it's 1 CP. And the reason I picked it is because it's quite cheap. So it's +1 to wound for the phase in the shooting or fight phase. And it only works if you are chosen to shoot or fight. You can't use this on Overwatch.
But so put +1 to wound.
when shooting or fighting.
But
then-
just +1 to wound on a unit, a salamander unit.
That's great.
For 1 CP.
For what? So it's the best ever version of
Veterans of the Long
Veterans of the
War.
Long War.
Yeah.
So you stick that on something with a ton of shots.
Well, like your repulsor executioner.
yeah.
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 That's the best, probably the best option for it. Or unless you get your like Leviathan close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If everyone's shooting all your flamer guys and your Leviathan models up there,
So
Bingo.
Yeah.
You just want something with tons of shots that you can apply that +1 to wound
So-
on, right?
I think you. At that point, you're not really thinking about flamers. It's
No.
just something else shooting. For
Although
that
you
one.
could.
You get 2
and
+1s to
stack that
wound,
with that
right? Yeah.
+1 wound to wound on the
So
flamers.
+2 to wound.
Yeah.
+2 to wound.
Your
and
strength 4
wounded
flamers are wounded on
R.I.P.
2s.
Knights for
them.
sure.
Yeah, R.I.P. Knights.
All right. So the third one I've got, I think you might be able to find it on the other page.
Uh-oh.
It's called Strength of the Primarch, which isn't on the other page. It's directly
Yes.
down, directly down the line.
So
It's 1 CP.
Yeah.
Again, it's quite cheap, and it's +1 strength for a unit in the fight phase, and 6s cause double damage.
this is what I was thinking of
Does it
with
say
the-
unmodified 6s?
unmodified wound
It
rolls
does.
of 6, double
Okay,
the
so-
damage
So
characteristic.
you can't stack this with Crucible of Battle like Veterans of the Long War,
No.
because otherwise you'd be able to get +1 strength and +1 to wound, and then 5s to do the double
However,
damage.
you
But-
can stack this with the Drake Smiter relic, and therefore
Boom.
double this and add 3
Yes.
to 9. And
I love
that's
it
what
when
I was
someone
thinking of
latches on
before.
it.
So
Yeah.
1 CP, your Smash Captain is doing
Yeah.
9 damage on 6s, unmodified.
He's got it.
9 damage.
9 damage?
9 way.
Yeah.
No,
That's German for you.
I don't know what way.
Excellent. The next one that I've got listed, so I might have missed one.
Let me guess. Is it Fires of
Fires of
Battle?
Battle.
No, it's self-sacrifice.
Oh,
no, it sucks.
Oh,
this is
is that one
self-sacrifice. I don't
that
know.
was the best one in the book.
Is
Oh,
it?
anyway,
Okay.
we'll
I think,
move
no,
on.
no.
What is
Again,
the
you can't
Fires
just
of
leave us
Battle?
hanging like that.
Okay,
Come on.
so 1 CP until the end of the phase, 1 model, not your entire army as I initially read it. 1 model when it's attacking with flamer or melters does a mortal wound on a 4+ to wound.
So how many CP is that one?
1 CP. So
What if you did that on your warsuit with the flamecraft on? That's
yep.
all
So
right,
for
isn't it?
3 CP, you're averaging
6 more wounds?
6.5 because of the salamander reroll coming in with a warsuit. So 6.5 mortal wounds is crazy good, really. But I think probably the most shots you can get with that would be with an aggressor. So where you're getting 24 hits with flamecraft and
Doing
then
12 mortal wounds.
12 mortal wounds, and then you got to think you get 12.5 because of the reroll, or Vulcan Hestan in range. You're
Still
upping
good.
that to 18 mortal wounds, and at that point,
And you're still getting more value out of Flamecraft because you've got the other aggressors that
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
aren't,
So
aren't
there's
using
the
this
poten-
individual
yeah, so-
stratagem. So you say that one's the best stratagem in the book.
well, that's the memeiest,
The good
flamey
meme.
one.
I think this is the best stratagem in the book. You ready for it?
Yeah.
It's called Self-Sacrifice. It's 2 CP.
I thought it was going to be
Yeah,
Wisdom
yeah.
of the Ancients.
Yeah. No, it's
Wrong
not.
book.
I'm afraid. No.
That's a good one.
So you use a stratagem at the start of your opponent's shooting phase,
Yeah.
and you select 1 Salamander's infantry unit from your army, so that can be a character.
Would love to.
Good. Until the end of the phase, enemy units cannot target any other infantry units
No mention of salamander.
from your army that are within 6 inches
Oh,
of
Lord
the
of
selected
Flies.
unit.
It's like the
Reverse
yeah,
there.
it's the Death Guard one.
Unless that unit is the closest enemy unit to the firing unit and visible to it.
Okay.
So it's
So-
like a Lord of Flies bubble.
Yeah. So what does it do?
You can't target any infantry unit within 6 inches of my character or my unit.
And any infantry unit friendly to you. So your
Guard.
your
So
guard,
you stick it on a dude, like just a random guy.
a salamander's guy
A salamander's guy. And you walk 110 catachans into someone's face.
Yeah.
within 6 inches of him.
Within 6 inches of him. And even if you don't have anything in front of the catachans, because you have to shoot at the closest unit, you can just say, well, I've only got 1 guy, but it's the only guy you can shoot at, so fire your entire unit into him.
Interesting.
Creates a lot of value for you. It's only 2 CP. Plus, you can use those guardsmen to generate a lot of command points for you to be able to keep regenerating this stratagem.
Okay, that's interesting. So you put that on like a really tanky unit that you just put at the front of the
Well,
board.
by definition, it's really tanky if you can't target the fucker.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So yeah, I guess there's like one option is you take your most durable thing you can find, whether that's
Or just a character that you can't pick out.
or that's the other
Braille
alternative,
Flash Panel,
or you put
which
your,
is not an infantry unit.
no, unfortunately not. So I guess you could look at doing something like storm shields or something if you
I
wanted
don't
to
even know
take
if
a
you
unit.
need to do that. I don't even know if you
I've
need to do that.
just got a character that can't be like
So,
it's
yeah, the other-
hiding
because
in,
you don't
hiding in
need
a building,
yeah.
so you can't see or shoot that guy because it says you can't even indirect fire this guy because you
Well,
need to be visible.
okay, so
Yeah.
here's the confusion. So, unless that unit is the closest enemy unit to the firing unit and visible to it. So, by that unit, does it mean the unit that you've used the stratagem on, or
So-
the unit that is affected by the stratagem within 6
It
inches?
is on that unit. So basically, if you like Nikos is saying, if you had a character in the center of a huge blob of infantry you don't want targeting, and you've got your infiltrators up the front, because the infiltrators are there, you can't target anything else.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that's how it's currently worded.
I know, but what I'm saying is, if you kill the infiltrators, can you target any of the infantry units around it? Because what is that unit?
If your character, so your Salamander's character is the nearest, but he's not visible, you still can't target anything.
No. What I'm saying is, could I? Let's say I have my Salamander's character in the center, and I have guardsmen all around him. Could I say, well, the only unit I can shoot at is the close? I would say, as the opposing player, well, the only unit I can shoot at is the guard unit because it is the closest to the firing unit and visible to me, so I can target it.
Yeah.
The Salamanders player could then potentially say, actually, it refers to the unit that I'm using the stratagem on, and that unit is not targetable because it's not the closest unit.
And also,
Interesting. Worth reading.
So it's definitely the.
I'm not saying I agree with that take at all. It's just that saying that unit when you're talking about a stratagem that affects multiple units.
That's why I think it's the unit that's been selected to fire by your opponent.
Yeah.
I
agree with you, but I could see someone trying to make the argument.
I think for me, the only reason I'm not drawn to this one particularly is because I think the wording is so odd that I can't see it not being fixed.
I think I was just going to say that I think that is one of those stratagems that's definitely going to be changed.
At the moment,
I would assume so, but that's still speculation. So based off what we have in front of us now, I'm saying you stick this in a Catachan list.
Yep.
Instead of like Blood Angels, or even you can have Blood Angels, you can have just a Salamanders guy, and then you can have the Catachan, and you just walk it up the board. The standard Mandishima list from ETC.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those stratagems that people will find
People
a way
have a
to
look
abuse
at.
it. And I think I've seen a list of Blood and Glory that's going to be abusing that with the Cataphron Breachers.
Interesting.
Because they're infantry.
They are
So you
infantry,
just have
yeah.
12 of them with all the plasmas going, and you can't shoot them.
Wow.
Whether you'd want to, even if you wanted to sort of keep it Space Marines just
Which
to
one's
make
it?
the most out of
It just
it.
forces you to play a
self-defense.
defensive game.
So it's something like Imperial Fist Centurions with all the buffs stacked on them, wandering across the board, untargetable.
Or even you could work it with Raven Guard and stick the Raven Guard Centurions in someone's face, and it's like, well, those are the closest unit now. You can't even target my battlefield. You have to target these.
There's definitely, I think, I can see why this is the one that's fluffy and sort of fits the Salamander thing of defending everyone else over themselves. But
Narrative
when
and humanitarian.
You could
But when
even
it applies
say
to an untargetable
you could
character,
even
it
just
makes no
say
sense.
wholly within 3 inches. Don't even change the keywords. Wholly within 3 inches, and it's like you're giving him a nice big hug.
Yeah, but
See,
either
I'm up
way,
for
we
that.
don't need to like go into the minutiae of like how wrong it can be and be fixed.
I
Hopefully,
think
it'll be
we can
fixed.
expect that to be changed a bit.
Okay, so what are the strats in there that are cool?
So I've got 3 more that I really liked. You've got Rise from the Ashes, which is 2 CP, and it's effectively a Gulliman style get back up. So 2 CP, use it on a character when it goes down, and then at the end of a phase, you roll a dice on a 4+. That character gets back up with 1 wound remaining.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, if you on a character
Yeah,
like Breath Ashmandor.
yeah.
Yep, the Salamander's
He
character.
gets back up with 1
not
wound remaining,
infantry.
and then you rush all your tech priests over to repair.
Just heal him. Just heal him.
I didn't touch your microphone. I touched the frame. Thank you.
Your Storm Raven is filled with Breath and Tech Marines.
And Tech
so it's
Marines
fine.
just there to emergency
And
deploy.
librarians to toughen him up.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes
Yeah, I'm into that.
And his mates. This penultimate one I've got here is Relentless Determination, which is only 1 CP, and use it at the end of a movement phase. And a Salamander unit that moved but did not advance counts as stationary for the purposes of consulting a damage table. The unit that you target with this that counts as having double the number of wounds when consulting the damage table. So you could use it on a vehicle and effectively double its profile for purposes of shooting and fighting, like Breath Ashmantle.
No, but specifically like because you're going to be doing is it Crucible Battles +1 to wound?
Yep.
And you can be doing that. Is it on an infantry model? Sorry. No,
Well, you could use it on anything. You can use it on a vehicle.
a vehicle. So
it's
you're going to be doing
1
that on your execution, aren't you? And then
Yeah.
you're going to be doubling its bracket on the
Or
execution.
you
as
could
well.
use it on aggressors and and make use of the counter's stationary power, which then allows you to basically double fire.
And that's where you're
You're,
getting your
Yeah.
12 point.
I think it was written for vehicles
wounds.
because it means
Yeah.
that you're not taking the
Chasing
penalty
you.
for firing heavy weapons and moving.
Yeah.
But you could still use it on aggressors, so you could
Yeah,
move them up. Just
it
don't advance
definitely
them.
it
Yeah.
definitely stacks with the flamer build where you're trying to just get as many flamer shots once you get within that 8-inch range or
Yeah.
11-inch range
Yeah.
as possible.
Yeah, because you can still use the stratagems on most. And then finally, I've got Born Protectors, which is 2 CP, And you can overwatch a unit that is charging a friendly unit within 12 inches, and if you do, you can heroic intervene against that unit as if you were a character, and if you do, you do that with a 2d6 roll, effectively, rather than 3 inches. So it's effectively friendly unit within 12 inches being charged, you can shoot at it with Overwatch, and then run over and punch it in the head as if you were
That
charging
could be
it.
quite cool for those like that like we talked about, that particularly hard character with the Drake Smiter. Yeah, just have him just like in the midfield, just like whipping between units, even in your
Yeah.
opponent's turn. That could be quite cool. Whether or not, like, it doesn't sound like lots of the abilities the book has are very applicable over long distance, which is what the game is. But it does sound like you could have some fun with it. But I worry that everything's just going to die in the midfield before you ever get across.
Which
the
is
board.
why the self-sacrifice stratagem is super important. I
Yeah.
kind of feel like if this stratagem gets like giga hit, then I think the book might fade into obscurity a little bit.
Yeah, it's basically how many of the 18 Flamestorm aggressors that you start with end up in the opponent's lines.
I mean, if you
That's the
drop
book. That's one
if
element
you
of
drop
the
on them in, well, you can't do the aggressors, can you?
No,
No.
not literally.
Can you take flamers on Centurions?
Yes.
There you are.
So if you
Yeah.
can
Problem solved.
assault Centurions with
Drop pod? You can stick them in drop pods as well.
no.
Can't you? You used to
No.
be able
So
to.
in 7th you
Kind
could,
of.
but they
Yeah, I
removed
remember you
that.
used to
So
be able to in
it's-
7th.
It comes down to Land Raiders.
Because I remember Grav drop pods in my Wraith Knight and
it-
Brood.
I think it's one of those armies where you almost want to get some games in just to see how viable it is actually trying to walk stuff across a board. Because I'm assuming there are armies that are just going to completely hard counter it by just being too
But what?
mobile.
Shooting it.
Well, that's one major issue. But
Yeah.
if you just face your
Eldar.
shining spears are never ever going to get anywhere near this.
Yeah, they're never going to charge it.
Well, they're never going to need to get
Yeah.
within
So
any,
the Shining Spears, I wouldn't ever come near it.
No.
Apart from like right at the end when I'm
But
mopping up
everything else
characters.
would shoot it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
shoot
then
them.
everything else is just like kite around and shoot and shoot. And
That's
shoot.
such a shame, right? Like, it makes like it's just. I suppose
mean-
it's more of an issue with the flamer weapon than it is necessarily
Yeah.
with the rest of the book. They've given you a lot of tools, especially like the concept, in my opinion, of the standing, like the ability to pop up as a character, the ability to pile in 2d6, a particularly strong weapon. Like they have given you like strong character builds.
Yeah.
And they've also given you all the bonuses to use flamers. Just flamers themselves aren't particularly viable inside the game because of the distance.
I feel like the way you'd make this work would be to take your salamanders and make them have a love child with Raven Guard, so that you at least have the ability to drop there. But as it stands, you have to make do with drop pods, which you can't stick Primaris Marines in.
But you can do like something someone was saying earlier. Stern Guard veterans can have a lot of flamers, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But the problem with that still is you're still being screened out by things. So when you've got a 9-inch kind of range on these things, you drop down into your drop pods and you have to have the long range marksman so you can hit them immediately. But your opponent is still able to dictate what you hit through screening.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
So you need to be
But
durable.
it's
enough to
but
last
it's
through
cool.
that.
But I do like the idea of building just one gangster. Like I like the idea of using Adrax Agatone, but like just as a general captain anyway, and then just with that Thunderhammer that's the Drake Smiter.
Just one final point about last thing that I was just talking about. Infiltrators ruin this army.
Oh.
Even with long range marksmen, because you have to set outside of 12 inches and you're in the 11-inch range.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
yeah.
Unless you've
hard.
got your own infiltrators and you can.
Well, it's still a problem though, because you
Yeah.
need to be able to drop inside the 11-inch
Oh,
range.
with the drop pods and
Exactly.
stuff. My bad. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're doing a drop pod build,
I think.
Yes,
which is why we're putting everything inside a Mastodon.
Yes.
Yeah,
you need a way to get them there.
Yeah.
So the Mastodon is apparently
Yeah.
the way to go.
I think that's the received way to go. I think the thing with the book, though, I think if you ignore flamers, which sounds ridiculous, I think there's still quite a lot of strong options there.
Yeah, I think so.
Particularly just having +1 to wound on anything is good.
Yeah,
that Crucible of
100%.
Battle is genuinely quite a scary
So-
thing.
Like my early Chaos Space Marine lists were just built around shooting to ice and +1 to wound.
Yeah.
They were pretty much the only two stratagems I used, and I won plenty of games with the list. So I think that,
Yeah.
like you say, I agree
I
with.
think-
And there
if
aren't
you,
many.
You can probably get some good builds out of just ignoring flamers. Like I think,
Which is a
just
shame,
MSU, like maybe like Centurions, or what I quite like for Salamanders is what are the Primaris jump pack dudes?
Inceptors.
Inceptors with plasma.
Suppressors would be autocannons.
No, not that.
Oh, the Inceptors with plasma.
But Inceptors with plasma are quite good because you got not many shots, but you get the additional revulls for Salamanders.
Yeah.
So also,
yeah.
and also, if you wanted to, you could just use the +1. You could use the +1 to wound instead of overcharging them to give you that safety, if you wanted to, or you could overcharge them because that takes plasmas up to 9. Does it?
Well, they go overcharge is strength 9. Yeah.
Yeah. So then that +1 to wound means you're going to be wounding on anything on 2s.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that will that really punches through and maximizes that unit if that's what you're looking
And
to
I think
achieve.
in terms of the book itself, I think characters are good. I think it sort of lends itself to good, sort of durable or fairly heavy hitting characters. I think they've got. I think that Smash Captain option that you can put together is probably up there with some of the other supplements in terms of quality of that actual unit.
Very scary.
And then I think it just it seems
Apothecary
to lean on very durable infantry.
Does
as well,
Apothecary heal 1 or D3?
D3 wounds or a guy back up to 1 wound.
That's not bad.
So
Just running around with an Apothecary.
My
just like,
question.
I think they're options.
Well, my question here would be: let's assume for a second that self-sacrifice is going to get hit pretty heavily, and it's not going to be a factor. Nikos, if you're a competitive player and you're just looking to play a competitive Space Marine build, yes, no, but I'm
Theorise.
saying if you're a competitive player that's just looking to play a competitive Space Marine build,
Yeah.
why would you take Salamanders over Iron Hands, Imperial Fists, Blood Angels?
Because I enjoy playing MSU armies and the reliability of their trait. Just the reliability.
There you go. Okay.
I think reliability is really important. I think I wouldn't take them for a competitive setting.
That's
I
the
don't
thing.
think, but I would take them because I want to take them.
Oh, I'm
Like,
looking
and also I think the key the diversity sometimes often gets you wins that other things don't. You see this a lot in every game system. Like the two that I cover anyway. Like is in that like when you do have something odd. Like it really throws your opponent off.
Yeah,
like and people are like, I didn't know what to handle with it. And like for instance, the idea of a Smash Captain, we understand. Like generally, people know the general output of something like that.
Yeah.
However, the Drakespawn build, for instance, it's just going in and doing his work. You're like, okay. Like you see an execution, you think, okay, that does X. But with +1 to wound, like how much better is that in that environment? And then you can get rerolls to hit and rerolls to wound on that whole execution, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not the whole thing. Not the whole thing. No.
Not full rerolls to wound, but yeah, reroll 1s or whatever.
So
It's not
just to add to that doesn't mean that necessarily you take things that are odd just for the sake of taking something that's confusing.
No, agreed.
Yeah.
I'm
I totally get you.
I'm pointing that out as a strength.
No, I totally agree with you. It's just that don't go out there and take a 200-point unit that's utter shit just because it might confuse someone. So what's the confusion? It does nothing. It's like
Rustalkers.
what's the
Rustalkers.
it's like it's like the turnip surprise in Blackadder. What's a surprise? It's just turnip.
Yeah,
It's like-
no, I agree with that. I was just pointing as to
Yeah.
like sometimes there is an advantage because this isn't. I don't think it's a Space Marine book's a strong book. And you're right. Some of the other I think chapters are stronger, but I still think that there could be a cool thing inside.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, 100%.
Well, it definitely favours sort of big, lots of gun single models, so repulsors, and repulsors can put
But then
aggressors
it's a
in.
question of which is more valuable: the Iron Hand durability or the
True.
Salamander's output, and
This is
the
true.
output
And
of a
then
lot
with
of
Imperial Fist being there as well with
right.
decent
Yeah,
output.
and a lot of the qualities of a repulsor are the weight of shots, and if you're only
Yeah.
getting one reroll, it's not really factoring in too much.
But +1 to wound on it's good.
Yeah.
It is good. This is true.
Yeah,
This is true.
But again, this is very much like I tend to find this like generally again with both game systems. The issue is that like if you look at like Space Marines as like a big conversation, is all you're actually doing is you're finding the units that are good, executioners as an example, yeah, and you're finding the stratagem that makes it the best, as opposed to like these really make it so that flamers are now viable. Or like they are like scary, like if you do get them in. But the point is all you're tacking on free rules on top of. So you're taking the efficient unit, you're tacking on free rules on top.
Which are the best free rules?
Which are the best free rules to make your best army.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a design mechanic flaw, like realistically. But it doesn't mean you can't have fun and make some cool lists.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I personally am quite inspired to do that because I love Thunderhammers, my favorite weapon in 40k. I love flamethrowers and I love salamanders. So I think that's
I still don't think it's quite that simple because it's just like I'll take the best thing, put the best thing on the best thing. But sometimes the synergy of different things that aren't necessarily individually the best is often quite important. For example, the Imperial Fist win rate, for example. So when I played against James Ramsey at VLGT and he had his 70 intercessor ridiculous list, which has been going around stomping everybody. I need to take a better look into what exactly these Imperial Fist lists are, but I have a feeling they're not just the self-proclaimed best unit in the repulsor with the Imperial Fist tactic on it.
That makes sense. Just by Ian is just saying a delivery system would have been nice. I think that's another thing that the Primaris generally are lacking, right? Like they do have transports. Like
Well,
Do we not think the
Impulsors
fly
probably-
node could
the
do the
impulses
work?
could be cool.
Well, the Impulsors probably was ridiculously cheap for what it is. Obviously, you can't put any flamers in it,
Well,
but that's kind of irrelevant with how good the model is.
The
And
problem-
depends what you're building.
Can you
around,
not,
'cause
can you
could
not put
build
the
with-
aggressors inside it?
No, aggressors can't go in impulsors. However, though, if you're thinking about you want like the MSU build that Nikos talks about,
Yeah.
nothing stopping you having a support character with like veteran intercessors with a thunderhammer in, which could be mastercrafted on a sergeant with the relics, and you could have just like an impulsor fleet with intercessors in doing lots and lots of attacks. Sort of, what's it, 5 attacks each on?
That
5
sounds
attacks?
proper
Yeah, it's a lot.
heresy era Legion-esque.
But
as
it's-
well.
that sounds like proper
And
heresy.
then, yeah, you can put Adrax in there with that, and they will get +1 to wound when they hit in combat, and if they're in the tactical doctrine, they still get -2 AP. There are options.
Yeah,
there.
it's
And
good, yeah.
Given that you can make the impulsors -1 to hit, extra toughness, and then if anything
Hell.
does come out of them, extra toughness.
You
with-
even take
yeah.
repulsors and you make them toughness 9.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think
-3 to charge.
Yeah, I think I will try and make repulsors with Flamestorm aggressors work until they don't. For me,
And then
if
try
they
again.
don't, impulsors.
And
with
if they don't,
intercessors
you
is-
spray them black.
Never. It's never happening. But yeah, I think once people look outside of the Flamers and try and find something unique that's not in the other books, I think there might be something that comes out that could be competitive.
Which is a nice way to tackle because never what we're trying to do on the show is like criticize. Like what we're trying to do is like constructively like break down.
Constructively criticize.
Yeah, well, constructively break down to like
Yeah.
achieve an aim, right? Because there's going to be people out there who are like, I really want to play with Salamanders. Like, cool, it's okay. Like the flamers bit is an issue, but you could try. I mean, sometimes you will play against a melee army. Like Gene Stealer Cults are going to like the Muscle Beach list would get wrecked if you took 18 aggressors.
That doesn't work. The one other stratagem that I think we forgot to mention is that you can turn Flamers into pistols,
Oh yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
and then given that you
That
can
assumes
stack-
that you're still alive though.
yeah,
Yes,
but
if
if you heroically intervened with your aggressors in, use 2d6.
With that
I
other
think
strategy,
it's a very.
A lot
the
of
strengths
yeah.
are you can't charge this army if
Yeah.
you have the right units. The infantry is really durable, and you can buff single units
Well,
quite well.
Yeah.
I am your I'm bad you're worse, as said in the chat. Did you guys see the Ashmental meme for Salamanders toughness 10 characters?
Wait, have we already spread a meme across the internet?
No, I think
I think we invented
I
it.
think
Yeah.
yeah.
Has Valak made a video?
That was quick.
Make it the only thing you can shoot. So obviously, if you just did you put all your aggressors behind Ashmantle, just made him -1 to hit toughness
Yeah.
13.
And then
we
you
had
did
him up. The stratagem,
self-sacrifice.
self-sacrifice. So
You
he's
can though.
Why not?
Because he's not infantry.
It's infantry.
But
No,
yeah,
no. So
Thompson,
you have a character,
Yeah.
then you have a brick full of aggressors,
Yeah.
and then you put the stratagem on the character, and then in
Yeah.
front of that brick is Brayoff.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
okay.
works.
Because
And then
Brayoff
all
is
they
the closest unit.
all they
Yeah.
can target is Brayoth, and they won't kill him because he's indestructible.
Yes.
wow. Okay.
Well, there we go. So
But
figured the book out twice.
generally some fun, and also a fun look at where we can find the Melter keyword in the rest of the Imperium Codex. Well, like
Index
Index
Melter.
Forge World, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, well that sounds really fun. Overall, I know Wallace that you're already going to play with them. Like, are you excited about the future with this army?
Yeah, I think it might take some figuring out. And like you say, maybe it's not the strongest book, but who knows? I certainly am not good enough to know yet.
Okay, Nick, what do you think so far?
It's definitely a codex I'd like to play around with, but at the minute I'm just into my Iron Hands. But like I said before,
That's a long time to Iron Hand play.
I love playing MSU lists, and I reckon there's pretty good MSU builds in that. But ignoring Flamers probably.
Yeah, Tom.
I'm probably gonna give it like a 6. Like it's kind of uninspiring for me personally, but that might just be because it's a supplement that reminds me of the Space Wolf book, with its stratagems that affect all infantry units or all Imperium units close by, and it just makes me sad.
Yeah, I for one really enjoy these kind of like mini books that are coming off the back of the space.
Oh, yeah,
Marines.
it's good.
And as stated before, while like some of them don't appear equals, I don't think that. I think this book feels really good. Like this book is like well crafted. You could say mastercrafted, but like it is like the Iron Hands is like an aberrant monster in the mix, as maybe as the Imperial Fist, like a tad. But like if you compare this next to Ultramarines, like obviously there's Gulliman in Ultramarines, so he's stupid. That makes the whole thing
He's bad.
stupid. Yeah, like he's a bad piece of design. Like,
Well, I think he's a rubbish unit.
okay, yeah, but like he's for a while he's been a poor piece of design. I think like what you have in this book is like I wish a lot of books were like this. like where they were a little bit more tailored to making stuff not quite as good.
I do think it is predicated on self-sacrifice getting changed.
Yeah,
I
it'll be
think as
interesting
it
to
is
see
the
where that
problem.
goes.
Yeah.
Won't it?
Yeah.
'Cause
Okay.
if it just goes from infantry to Salamanders infantry,
It's still good.
I think the main thing is they need to deal with untargetable characters shielding untargetable infantry, which is a
Yeah.
I mean, the characters are targetable, but...
Okay. All
Oh,
right.
you mean
well,
the ones inside the centre? So I thought you were talking about Grey Alpha again, my mistake. Yeah.
no. Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
just
it's
just
fine,
a
yeah.
feeding each other with untargetableness. Pretty gross.
Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure having you all on the show. Wallace, thank you very
It's been
much for
good,
being
man.
on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Thank you. Nick, it's been lovely seeing you.
Thank you. Great
Tom,
to see you guys.
great to
as
see
well.
you.
I'm looking forward to internet being scuffed again next week.
Don't worry, next week we're going to nail it. I'm pretty certain. Thank you everyone on the Twitch chat for joining us. Appreciate you loads. If you've been watching the podcast, listening to the podcast, stay hydrated, look after yourself. Let us know what your thoughts are. So tweet us, Facebook us, leave some comments below what you think you're going to be running, if you're going to be running this army. I'm quite excited to hear about that. If you're uploading Glory this weekend, make sure you beat both Nick and Tom, please.
Not on Warhammer, physically.
No, at Warhammer. Physically
If you
cuddle
beat him
them.
physically, he'll hit you
Physically
back. You need to be
cuddle
careful. Yeah.
And as always, thank you to everyone on Twitch for subscribing. Appreciate you guys. And thank you to everyone on Patreon for supporting the show.
Thanks, dudes.
Goodbye, anyone. Anyone got any final thoughts? Shout outs?
Loot is bad.
Looters are bad?
Don't listen to Tom. He lies.
That's true.
Loot are bad again. I've
Wallace,
taken
any
them back
final
up my
thoughts?
list.
Flamers for the somewhere in the middle.
Okay, good.